Let's try this again.
Are we live?
We kind of new video.
We're live.
Okay.
We're live now.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, man. No, I was just saying, I'm wore out, man. It was windy out there today. Went over to Egypt for 4 or 5 hours, 5, 6 hours, something like that. And the wind is, I don't know, man. That little boat, like I was saying, I got to get a new trolling motor. I'm so tired of, you got to sit there and stand on that trolling motor. You got to have it on 7 just to hold yourself. And it wears you out. And then you're trying to make a cast, you're trying to focus. You know, you're fishing out there. I was fishing for some offshore fish. I'm throwing out there in like 30 foot, trying to, work a spoon or a jig or something, 30 foot of water in the wind. And it's, I don't know. I think I'm going, I got enough money to buy like forward facing sonar or upgrade to like an Ultrex. And I think I'm gonna get the trolling motor. I mean, I need the trolling motor for sure. So I've got to, I don't know. I got to make some changes. It's driving me nuts. It's making me mad. I feel like I'm not catching as many fish because I don't have that trolling motor to hold me in place. My buddy Ron, he's got the Ultrex, and he will, he'll idle up past the fish and then get, like 30 yards from them and hit spot lock with the nose into the wind. And then he'll just walk off the back deck and fish off the back deck into the fish. I mean, it's so much easier. You got a nice wide platform.
Oh, it's a whole lot easier. Yeah.
You're not bouncing around.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. That's just been on my mind. You guys out here, you got a preference? Has anybody messed with Lowrance Ghost or the Garmin or even the Ultrex? I mean, I've got,
it's funny. We talk about the Ghost, we talk about the Ultrex and everything else. You just don't hear nearly as much about that Ghost. It's, I don't know if they're keeping it quiet for a reason, because there's a lot of professionals out there that are already using it and fishing it. You just don't hear a lot about it. I mean, I see ads and stuff for it, but I mean, over the professional level, you just don't hear a lot. I'm just wondering, what? Let's get Mike in here before I forget to add him here.
Everything I've read about it, it's pretty solid motor. What do you know about it, Mike? You heard me
that
Lowrance Ghost.
All I know is Trey says it kicks ass.
Your audio's down.
No audio, dude.
It might be us.
My muted.
We still can't hear you. You look good though, man.
Yeah.
Rocking the Josie Wells tee.
I'm not muted.
Plug it in.
You got no audio. This is gonna be like a.
I'm gonna leave and come back in if you can read lips.
Nothing. He's gonna have to drink a whole lot more before we can read his lips.
Can you hear us, Mike? Thumbs up if you can hear us. Okay. Yeah, we still can't hear you. That's weird. I don't know.
Mike, go back into your settings on StreamYard and see if you got your mic on in there.
Is it right here?
Hey, hang on, Mike. Hey, try that.
Hey, test. Can you hear me?
Still not hearing you.
Why don't I get out and get back in?
What is it? This is getting weird here. I don't know what's
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
He's looking fresh, man. He's rocking the beard. Got the Josie Wells shirt on. Got the AK AR-15 hat on. Looking dope, man. Looking dope. What'd you say? Should I get out and back in? Should he go out and back in?
Hang on. Let me try. Wow, we should have done this a long time ago. Try now, Mike.
Check.
Still don't have it.
No. I didn't know that was in there. That's nice to know, though.
Cool. Yeah, guys, this is
try going back out, come back in, Mike.
It's like low budget live.
It's real low budget.
Tom says we can hear him.
Oh, Brandon says he can hear him. Oh, Jesus Christ, guys. I'm an idiot.
You need a new IT guy.
No. Yeah, we do need
a new
IT
IT guy.
You need to turn the volume up? You got to turn the volume up.
Let me get out over here.
We're going to try this again, Mike.
No, I know what it is.
You know what it is?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
You didn't have your volume turned up, right?
Yeah, it's this guy.
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen once said volume is tone. That's why his guitars just had a volume knob. They didn't need a tone knob. Turn that shit up.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been dealing with all kinds of changes here lately, and I've just with everything last week, and I think I actually know what happened with last week.
So completely unrelated to fishing, but IT related. One time I had a project due out and I was panicking because I had got up to do something, set my headphones down, went up, and I came back and my computer was just scrolling. My AutoCAD was just scrolling over and over and over, like the command line. And I was like, what the shit? And this is like before, I couldn't get it. I ran upstairs to the IT guy, all panicked, and he came down here. And as soon as he looked at my keyboard, just started laughing. And I was like, I had set my headphones down the escape button. Just escaping over and over again. And I was in a panic because I was like, no, my computer cannot take a crap right now. I got a project due out. I was thinking I was getting out to leave for the lake for the weekend. It was like I'd already taken Thursday off and was getting ready to leave for Thursday, Friday. And this was like on a Wednesday. And I was just like, it's not happening right now. And it was just me setting my headphones on my escape key. So we've all done stupid crap.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
David fired me.
David says you're fired, man. We can't fire him. We don't have nobody else to replace him.
Yeah.
Grass isn't always greener anyway. So.
Right. So, hey, we were talking, you were probably talking too about the trolling motors, the Lowrance.
Trey has one, and all I know is he says it kicks ass.
Well, okay, well, he's got what? Which one?
The Lowrance. Is that called the Ghost? Yeah.
Greg does? I didn't know that.
No, not Greg. Trey.
Trey
Sorry
does.
for my hillbilly mush mouth, but Trey.
All good.
Trey.
Okay.
TH Kustoms, the man. Yeah, and he said it's awesome. And one thing I thought was cool is the extra buttons to program. So you can put your talons or your power poles just on the buttons on your trolling motor, and you don't have to put any other buttons on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's got open slots, I guess, so to speak, that you can make that whatever I'm sure you could make it do other things too, whether it's switch screens on your graphs or whatever. It's that whole one boat. If you had Lowrance electronics, it's like that whole Hummingbirds. They kind of go on the same route as Hummingbird with the one boat network thing.
And I can't remember. Isn't that, how Motor Guide has the touch on the pedal on one side and Minn Kota has it on the other? Isn't that?
Oh, I know it all too well. These buttons are off to the side of that. They're down on the lower part, like where your spot lock and your north and your power switch is on the what do I have? The Ultrex.
Yeah.
The Ultrex is the automatic one, right? Yeah. Yeah.
You've been happy with that?
I have. And I had a Motor Guide for over 25 years before I switched to that. And Greg had the 4-Trex, and I was impressed by the sheer power of it. Then you add the other stuff onto it, But I think it's, from what I understand, what people have told me, that both the Minn Kota is kind of loud compared to some of the newer ones, and especially I think the Garmin's brushless, right? I'm not so sure the Ghost, if it is or not, but if Trey gets on here, he'll know.
I think they're both brushless. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's all the difference in the world as far as the noise goes. And then I know, you got in the boat with me when we got in the Camus with Gavreau.
Right.
And he said that Garmin was more power than he'd ever seen in a trolling motor.
Yeah, he was saying
that guy's owned his share of boats and spent his share of hours in a boat. So that's not coming from a guy that's his second trolling motor.
Yeah, I've got to upgrade. It's just getting ridiculous. I'm out there in that 10 boat, and I can't hold myself in the wind. I know one thing that I did is I had a 3-blade prop on that when I first bought it. Mm-hmm. I fished so much grass that the 2-blade is what you want in the grass. It just goes through the grass a lot better, but you lose your power. Yeah,
the low end, the get you going part. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. It's almost like people change their props out on their big motor. I need to change my trolling motor props out, I guess, each time.
You do if you're not going to be in grass. Shoot, they don't weigh nothing. I've always got a spare in my boat.
Yeah, I got one in there. I don't think about changing it until the wind's blowing like 20 miles an hour and I'm trying to hold
get you that prop nut like I got. It's kind of you know what I'm talking about? Then you don't even need a wrench or nothing. You just reach down there and grab it with your hand and just twist it off and slap the prop on it. Don't take no time.
Is that TH Marine?
Yeah. Yeah. It was owned by somebody else, and like everything in the marine industry, it ends up becoming TH Marine, whether it's locker bar or.
Could you tell a big difference with that thing balancing the blades up?
Honestly, no, I don't. But if they tell me it is, and they tell me it's keeping it cooler up there, and it kind of, like I said, just the convenience of the quickness to slip it off real quick without having to get a wrench out to see if we got any line in there. If at the end of the day, me and you are standing there talking, Greg, around the boat before we both take off, I can spin that thing off and see if I got any line or anything, and then maybe save myself.
Yeah, I looked at getting one last year, and I just didn't quite pull the trigger on it, but I just wasn't sure. But that was when I was having a lot of issues with my trolling motor, constantly getting out of balance, and I had other issues going on. But
Yeah.
we finally figured that all out. But
yeah, I bought it long before it was at TH Marine, so I kind of was doing it because the idea of being able to get it off real fast, and it was a guy who had a small company. I was like, well, he's a machinist trying to make an extra buck. I'll spend another $10 or whatever it was to buy it. So, and it's kind of like my motor stop, right? The rush you drop it in the lake or somebody steals it, you ain't going to ever wear it out. So you can move it from boat to boat, whatever.
Yeah, that thing's super solid, man. That thing's made really, really good.
Yeah, it's like machined aluminum.
Yeah, it's stout. Smallwater Charter says he has the Ulterra, and it's the auto stow and deploy. And then he also says the TH Marine stabilizer nut does help. We could tell.
Yeah, I would probably say it does. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. It makes sense.
Well,
and it does double as a weapon if you had to unscrew it and beat somebody with it, like Gabe was saying. That it's kind of pointy.
I'll tell you what. 2 years ago, I went down to Lake of the Ozarks for our classic, and my trolling motor, I spun the pin on it, and I tell you what, I had played a hell of a time trying to get that nut off the back of there. That the very end of it, I guess, got chewed up, and I couldn't stick anything in there to hold the actual shaft straight. So I was just spinning the whole thing the whole time. And I tell you what, I spent probably a good 4 hours working on that thing before I got it off.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm pretty anal about that. Taking that off and looking. Same way with my prop. Every couple of trips, I'll pull it off and look and see what things are looking like in there. Catch any, I think I found it one time. I found fishing line, but other than that, it's always been a good thing. Didn't find any problems. So,
you get some good catfish line in there.
Oh, geez. There's some braid. Yeah. Yep. You'll know that probably right away if you get braid in there, probably. Never had that, but I imagine it doesn't melt down like the monofilament and fluorocarbon does. Anymore, there's not a whole lot of monofilament out there, is there? I mean, in comparison, I'd have to say it's got to be half of what it used to be.
I know Ron still uses monofilament on his jerkbait. He told me that.
So does Marcus.
But
yeah, I still use it on a few things.
I've dropped the pin several times. Or actually, here's a little story for you, smaller charters. I was fishing little grassy, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and drove all the way over there. It's about an hour and 20-minute trip, and then you got to go to the wildlife refuge, which adds another 15, 20 minutes, and you got to get a $2 parking pass, and then you drive back to the lake. So I dumped my boat in. I got all my stuff ready to rock and roll, and this is I think this is before YouTube. So I make a run all the way down the lake. I pull up to this point, put my trolling motor down, and I push the button, and I'm not moving. The wind's kind of blowing the nose of the boat around. Again, and I'm like, okay, wait, is it on? I checked everything, So I pull long story short, I pull it up, and the pin came out, and the prop was completely gone. So I ran up to this little marina. They got this little podunk marina up there. And it was a Minco. No, it was a motor guide. I had a motor guide. So I go in there, and they got one prop in there, and it fits a Minn Kota. It's the only one they got. So I bought it anyway, just because. And of course it didn't work, but yeah. So always
zip ties and duct tape. You couldn't even make it work, huh?
Yeah, I know, man. I don't think I had black tape. I do know that, but I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, now I got an extra prop in the boat at all times, because that's stupid. You make that long drive and
no more than they cost.
Fish, man. I had to turn around and go all the way back home.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say about those pins too. 153 of those doesn't weigh as much as 1/2 ounce tungsten. So take you 20 of them and wrap a piece of painter's tape on it and throw it in your terminal tackle box, and you'll always have a bunch of those pins for your trolling motor.
Yeah.
You might leave without your jerk baits, you might leave without your spinner baits, but you're not going anywhere without your terminal tackle box. So you'll always have them with you if you throw them in that.
I had it over at Crab Orchard, fishing the dam over there one time. It was windy. That's where it went out on me. It was catfish trout line. Caught it in there, and it ripped it right out like it was nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was windy, so I kept starting. I was by myself, kept starting the boat, running out a little bit, go up there and work on it, get back in there, start again, run back out. It just kept blowing me in there. But
yeah, I'm always I get freaked out by, people that run those jug lines. And you're idling, you're looking at your graph, you're looking at your down scan, you're idling, you know, next thing you know, you look up and you're right in the middle of this flotilla of like bright yellow jugs. And
those guys apparently those guys got contour maps too, huh? They're putting where you're looking.
That's right.
Bass and crappie or bass and crappie and all that, they're all in the same areas a lot of times. So
Dave Helmer made a good point, and that reminded me of something. He said the shanks on the flipping hooks work good for pins. Takes two, but they work in a pinch. That's funny you said it because I've used the end of my bungee cord. It worked perfect, fit right in.
Well, it was funny you were saying that, Gabe, earlier.
It worked perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
When you were talking about that break and that prop, I was thinking to myself, there's two friends of mine that I would want in the boat when that happened. That was Dave Holm and my buddy Luke's a mechanical engineer. That dude can fix about anything. So you just he don't chew anymore, but you just give him a dip and he'll sit down and figure it out. But Dave's MacGyver up for as long as a day. I mean, he's got some crazy ideas for lures he's been monkeying with and stuff, but Dave's always monkeying around with something. He's always tinkering, and his kid's always killing giant deer. He's got his kid is just slaughtering giant deer. You have to ask him about what the size. I don't know anything about how you. All I know is when I look at the picture, I'm like, good Lord.
There's some big deer over there in Illinois. I know when we had Luke Estelle on here, it's been 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, but man, he had some heads on the wall behind him. I mean, some.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean,
Dave's all bow all the time. Him and his bow. Well, him and his bow boys. So to me, I really appreciate that more. You can get them close enough to. No offense to you Missouri guys dropping them with a 300 Win Mag, but getting them close enough to kill with a bow is a whole nother level, I think. Coming from the guy that doesn't deer hunt, but it just seems that way. I always tell Dave if he needs to take a knife in his teeth and jump out of the tree, he's mean enough. Just slit one's throat.
You're not a deer hunter either, right?
No, I used to deer hunt, man.
I'm a deer eater though, man. I love it when people give me the meat. I love eating it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
They look too much like Simon. That's why I can't shoot them.
No, I don't hunt anymore. I used to hunt, and the place I had about 250 acres. It was private, and nobody lived out there at all. There were some big deer running around there too. And the guy that let me hunt there, his sister decided to build a house up there, and she was freaked out about any kind of guns, any kind of bow hunting or anything. And then I lost all my privileges after that. So I got booted out, man. But after that, I just kind of gave it up. I just fish all the time, but I did bow hunt quite a bit. Never shot a deer, never shot a turkey with the bow. I had chances. I remember one time I was out in the woods and I was tired, I was like bright eyed and bushy tailed till about 10 o'clock. And I was bow hunting and I was leaning up against this huge laydown. This is a big old oak tree laying down in the woods. Had my back against it. And I decided to just kind of lay down and take a nap in the woods. So I'm laying down. 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, I hear some walking in the leaves on the other side of this big laydown. And so I opened my eyes and I kind of rolled back and looked up. And I mean, not even 5-10 yards on the other side of that, I seen this head. It was a guy, it was a turkey. I could see the top of his head just doing this. And, I mean, there's no chance of me standing up and drawing back on a turkey. But I just laid there and watched them go by. There's like 3 or 4 of them, but I was that close.
Hellbat's on. So nap sounds awesome right now.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. I'm feeling it, man.
Speaking of which, sleeping real is nice having you in here. I know you're getting ready for your show.
I'm not seeing the comments. Oh, never mind. I'm in private chat. I'm on it now. IT problems over here too.
Yeah,
no nap for me. I just had a big cup of Black Rifle coffee before we got on here. So
yeah, I figured Sophia would be on here, but
she'll be on later probably.
Yeah. Make sure she ain't sick of deer meat yet.
I think one of the high school boys that I help out with is going to get on here tonight. I don't see him on there just yet.
We got to tell the story about before we forget. We don't have to do it right now, but let's try to remember. Dave told me to make sure I asked you about the dead man's hole. You know anything about the dead man's hole?
I do know all about the dead man hole. and unfortunately, too many people know about it now. But yeah, we can either talk about it now or we can talk about it later. We won't forget, that's for sure.
Hank wants to know what you're drinking.
I'm gonna say Knob Creek there.
Go.
My neighbor bought me this for Christmas. It's not even Christmas. It's almost gone. But
I was gonna say a stocking stuffer, but it's too big to fit the stocking.
oh, we'll make the stocking bigger if we have to.
That's true.
But you've met my neighbor Marnie. She's the gal that's got the Doberman across the street, so our dogs are buddies.
Yeah.
So yeah, she helps us out a lot. So we she's one of the good neighbors to have for sure.
You got some good neighbors.
Oh, I do. I guess got a gold medal. I got an Olympic gold medal neighbor. I got Marnie across the street.
Now, not to get specific or nothing, you live in Arnold area, right?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
I'm a Fenton. I can't say. I won't cuss. I'm a Fenton fudge head.
I got you.
Live in Fenton. Yeah.
You get off at Arnold.
Yeah. Oh, I know that area.
141.
I grew up in
141 straight up.
Yeah.
I'm from Alton originally. I'm an Alton boy. Well, Hillsboro, Illinois originally. So I fished all those. When your one guest that had all the deer heads it really reminded me of the old Redmans. I used to be at all those tournaments back in the day in Illinois, Wren, Carlisle, Shelbyville. I wasn't fishing them. My stepdad was. And then when I got old enough to start fishing some of them with him, I did. But that's kind of how I got started fishing, was following him around to those Redman series back in the day, which I guess history right there. That's what became the BFL. That's now the MLF, that whatever, however that all went down. But
Okay.
that was the good old days. I got another Dave Holm story for you, though. Dave could probably remember the time we got caught at Kincaid in a hellacious storm, and we beached the old SS Buck Nasty. I mean, we came in hot and just put it on the bank on that keel protector. And Dave was trying to climb in a rod box, and that wasn't working out. So he just got up under the console. We both kind of got, and he was in the passenger console because he didn't have rain gear. I did. I was more scared because I thought I was going to get hit with lightning. I got out of the boat and got up on the bank, and Dave sat there with the golden rule, just squeegeeing the water towards the drain to keep himself dry the whole time underneath the console. He got a little ball. He stayed fairly dry. Yeah, I think he stripped down to just his skivvies, and so his clothes didn't get wet. Threw them in the dry box, and then he just sat up there and squeegeed the water towards the drain the whole time.
You ever had the line raise up off the water?
Oh, when you get like,
Yeah,
oh
man,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I've had that happen a couple times.
I've dropped my rod a couple of times when I heard a buzz, like I felt something hurt a buzz. I just dropped the rod, and you know what I did after that? Went to the truck.
That's right.
I'm done.
I've
been in a hurricane in the Virgin Islands, and I said it then when I seen the first car going end over end down the street. I was like, I'm from Illinois, but I've had physics, dude, and a coconut at 110 mile an hour is a fucking cannonball. I can tell you that. If it's throwing Jeeps down the street, it's slinging those coconuts around. You don't want to be out there dodging that shit.
Yeah, stop, drop, and roll.
I have a great respect for storms. I spent 22 hours without a roof getting poured on. So, yeah.
That's crazy stuff.
Where'd you say you were at when you got caught in that storm?
With Dave?
Yeah.
That's
So my brother and I, the first tournament we ever fished together, we were at Kincaid and got caught in a major storm over there. And I don't know if you know where the picnic area is at.
Oh yeah.
But we come around that, and it's no wake in there. But at that point, I didn't care. We dodged in there, got up in there, and they've got an old, not an outhouse, but kind of like a bathroom deal up there, a little shack or whatever.
Right.
We ran into that thing, and I'm telling you could hear trees getting hit with lightning around us the whole time. And I mean, it was I was not done with that. But
that's scary stuff. Scary stuff. Yeah, the violent ones usually aren't, long. The violent part of it anywhere. But man, when you get right in the middle of it, I guarantee you, if it would have, you'd have had the radar, you were in the bright red or orange or whatever the heck it is, went right over where you were.
Yeah, we were fishing out on my buddy's boat. He had a little 16-foot. I don't even know what kind of. It was a boat he rebuilt. It caught on fire, and he rebuilt the whole thing. It was like an old. I don't even know maybe an old. I don't even know what the hell it was. It was a
fiberglass.
That it's fiberglass.
Hydrosport. They were kind of skinny.
It might be. I don't know. It was a small boat. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we were at Duck Creek, in that we're talking about the static electricity in the air, and I remember us fishing with my buddy Alan. I think we were fishing a little club tournament, and Duck Creek's a real shallow lake. It's 4 or 5 foot deep. It's got cypress knees and cypress trees and grass, and it's got a lot of broken off stumps just kind of scattered underneath the water all over the lake.
So there ain't no running out of there.
No, well, yeah, there was that day because my rod started vibrating, like you were saying. It started humming, making a little humming noise, and I made a cast, and my line just never really sat on the water. I mean, it was just kind of
kept it up.
It was
whatever,
creepy, dude. And then we heard pow off in the distance, and we put that sucker up on pad. We hit a couple stumps. You know, the nice thing about having a 9.9 motor is it kicks up automatically. So we just, you know, you just do this and you just keep on going. And we got to, there's a little set of slips on that lake, and we just hightailed it to those and just ducked in. But man, that was so scary. And then here comes the rain, and then the lightning's crashing. You're in this little, basically it's like a six, it's probably 2 6-stall docks is all you're tucked into. So you got to figure out which way the rain's coming in and get on that opposite side and just ride it out.
Right.
It's sketchy, dude. It's super sketchy out there.
So have either one of you guys ever been to Okeechobee?
Never have. Nope.
So imagine this. You know how big it is and open, and what's the only lake you can see from outer space or natural lake besides the Great Lakes? Imagine that when you get in a lightning storm there, and you're the highest point from a long ways along. You know, water seeks its own level. So if you're Gabe, you're what, 6'3", 6'4"?
I'm not that tall, man.
Really? I'm just that short.
He's tall enough to stand next to him.
God, I try to tell myself you're 6'3" because every time I look at that picture of me and you at the Toyota tournament, I'm like, man, I'm little.
I had my platform shoes on.
Yeah, I didn't have my lifts in. But to think about that, dude, okay, I'm 5'10" and a half-ish. I'm still the longest thing for a long way away if you're a couple miles from the shore.
Yeah, if you got a rod in the air, too.
Yeah. So, yeah, screw all that, you know.
Smallwater, he said he lives on Okeechobee.
So he knows all about those storms down there.
Yeah, that's some scary stuff, you know.
You got nowhere to run there.
Yeah.
Brian had asked that question about a 1448, if it's a stable boat.
Yeah. Ron told him if he was young.
He was young. Yeah, I had a 1442, and it was a little bit sketchy. In fact, the guy I sold it to, he's wanting to go ahead and get rid of it because he's an older gentleman, and it's just a little bit too squirrely for him. But I fished out of that boat. I mean, you've seen some of my earlier videos. That's the boat I had. But a 1448 is, you know, I wouldn't probably go smaller than a 1448 unless you're young and you're nimble and all that. You can do the 1442, but the 1448, I bought a 1650. I know Ron's got I think a 1652, maybe 54. But if I was going to get a new aluminum boat and I had the money, I would definitely be shopping for that 1650, 52, 54, something like that. You just got a lot. You can handle bigger water better. It's a lot more stable platform. It's night and day difference. Just
when you were saying squirrely, Gabe, do you mean when you're fishing you could throw yourself in the water pretty easy?
Yeah, you had to. I mean, I got pretty good center of balance. But if say for instance, if the wind's blowing a little bit and you're fishing in some standing timber and you hit like a stump with the trolling motor and it stops you, you don't have a lot of room for error before you would step off the side. I never did. I did bend a handle on one of my reels one time.
Probably because you didn't have a cooler in your way.
Right. But yeah, man, it's kind of like electronics. Get the biggest boat you can afford. But
yeah, to a point. Yeah, to a point.
But that 1650, 1652, something like that, man, is ideal. You got plenty of storage in there. It's got enough pad on it that it still runs good. You know, that's another thing with different sizes of a boat. You would think that 1442 would run faster than a 1652. And sometimes they will if you've got the big boat weighted too much. But you've also got that surface
bigger
area.
Surface area, yeah.
It gets up on pad and it's almost a flush. So you got more boat and you're still able to run, 20 plus miles an hour.
Isn't that a lot of the strategy? No, I wouldn't say strategy, but doing the 9.9 tournaments, I would think that I would want to minimize the amount of stuff I drag along. It ain't like I got 250 horses in a 20-foot boat. I can put whatever the hell I want in there. And instead of going 73, I'm going 71 or something. So I would think, I would want to take like a co-angler style load of tackle every time I went out and not try to take the kitchen sink. If in the tournament now practicing, you can do whatever you want, but
yeah, Rich says hit that thumbs up for us, guys. Appreciate that. It helps the channel grow. Yeah, man, me and my buddy Jerry that I tournament fish with, he's got his tackle kind of dialed in. He's got it downsized. He just kind of brings what he needs. Man, it makes a big difference. Like you just said, 50 pounds on a 10 horse motor versus 50 pounds on a 250 is huge. It'll slow you down, a mile an hour, half mile an hour, something like that.
Even the difference between a 150 and a 250 is,
Right.
Yeah, tell Jerry to leave his sandwiches at home.
Well, yeah, I mean, he kind of leaves he brings a smaller tackle box so he can make room for his 5 sandwiches.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
He's got like 20 pounds of sandwiches in there. Man's got to eat, man. He catches fish when he stays fortified.
Shoot, Greg will have 5 pounds of Snickers. He don't mess around. Greg never comes up short in the food department either. What's funny about Greg is he can do either way. I've seen him eat like a pig, and I've seen him go all day without eating. So I'm usually chewing, so I don't eat much. I
gotta have my snack sticks.
Something I can put in my pocket. I do a lot of beef jerky.
Yeah.
I used to fry a bunch of bacon and just throw it in Ziploc bags and throw it in the cooler.
I'd send you the bacon that we made, but I don't think it'd ever make it to you if I gave it to Gabe.
Pretty good stuff. It is pretty good stuff. I'd have to freeze it. And hide it in the back. Let's catch up on some of these comments. See if we missed anything before we get too far.
Guy was talking about they were fishing a tournament. He said these 2 guys were still out there fishing all lightning and everything with the rod straight up in the air.
Yeah, no tournament is worth that. I mean, I guess I see a lot of the elite guys or the tour level guys fishing through storms, but you also
that's a different story. A lot of them, and that's the younger crowd that hasn't been out there and seen enough of it.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, ask Mark Menendez, he'll tell you it ain't worth it.
Or David Fritz. David Fritz has got a pretty scary story about getting.
Yeah, guys that have been around a while or been in a serious storm.
So I got a question that maybe I missed a couple of weeks ago, and I just didn't know anything about it, and I was living in the dark, which is perfectly possible. Did something happen with the boat between Mark Menendez and Lucas Still?
The boat?
Yeah. Do you hear anything about that, Mike?
I didn't. I've been kind of in the dark, man. I've been busy at work and just.
I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
Somebody at work, I asked him, I said, do you watch the show? We had Mark Menendez on. He's like, no, I really wanted to. I wanted to ask him about the boat with Lucas Still. Evidently, I guess he borrowed his boat and tore it up or something.
Oh. So it wasn't like a bad thing. It was just an accident or something happened.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't know anything about it.
So Luke borrowed Mark's boat or vice versa?
Mark borrowed Luke's boat.
Oh, I'll have to ask him about that.
I would have to say that I don't think Mark Menendez has got a vindictive bone in his body, so I'd have to say it was an accident.
It was definitely an accident.
That dude is solid.
He's having problems getting his boat. He's thinking he's going to have to fish out of a 2010 Skeeter. No, actually a 2000 Skeeter with a 2010 show on the back of it because his boat has not come in, and that's kind of weird. I mean,
yeah, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Right.
Yeah, he's still Mark Menendez. It's kind of like Tiger Woods, like I said before, right? Picking up a set of golf clubs at the yard sale on the way to the course and kicking the shit out of you with them.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix can make a pawn shop guitar sound like whatever he wants to make it sound like.
Yeah,
I like that. The bass player for Wolfpack, Joe Dart, he came out with a custom series bass, and it's got one knob on it.
I can't remember what song it was that Zach Wilde did in like a Walmart with a cell phone video playing like a Black Sabbath cover on a Hello Kitty guitar through a little amplifier and just tearing it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've talked about that before too, right? It's all right here.
Yep. It's 5-10 secrets, top 10 secrets to guitar playing right there.
Yeah. Down the music road, my middle son, Miles, he's taken to the LPs. And my friend Billy Hirsch opened a record store back in Alton, and they are packed mostly with young people that are kind of infatuated with the albums, guys in their late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, what is with that? I've seen record players.
I've kind of seen it coming, dude, because I've seen it coming because these kids grew up listening to compressed MP3 files, and then they hear it on an album or a CD, and it blows their mind.
Yeah.
My son was like, it's like I got a new stereo when I gave him a CD, He'd been listening to the Grateful Dead through Spotify or whatever format he uses. And then he heard it on CD, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Shakedown Street sounds a heck of a lot better on the original digitally remastered CD than it does on your compressed MP3 player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He goes, now, Dad, I understand why you gave me so much crap for having Bose headphones and listening to MP3s. I was like, I tried to tell you, dude, you don't need studio quality headphones to listen to compressed files. You know,
I like
know
that.
they look cool.
I love that analog sound.
Yep.
I like a little pop and a little hiss. It just sounds, it's like the difference between a studio album and a live album.
The sound when the album drops in a jukebox was always something I remember.
Right.
I don't know. I think Hank's drunk tonight.
Oh, we're going to do a Hello Kitty fishing pole challenge.
That'd be awesome.
Actually, I think I got Barbie doll. I got 2 of the Barbie doll ones in the
Might
closet.
limit your casting range for sure.
It came with that Cajun red line on it.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've got
crap.
probably
That stuff coils like a phone cord.
Yeah, probably 6 to 8 kid poles downstairs from all the kids. They come over all the time during the summer and leave their poles here all the time. Just over the years, we've collected a bunch of them.
One of the funniest things I saw was David Dudley. He was trying to catch a catfish with using his horse to reel it in. Did you ever see that episode? So
do what now?
Yeah. So David Dudley's got a farm pond, right? So he takes some like 40-pound line or something, and he's got just a single hook, and he puts a piece of hot dog on there, I think. And he does the little lasso thing, throws it out, and then he ties it to his horse, and he gets up on his horse. And when he gets a bite, he just, hits his horse on the butt, and the horse takes off and just rips this catfish up out of the pond. So he actually caught a catfish using his horse to set the hook.
That's a lot of horsepower.
That's a lot of horsepower, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's
Dudley, he dances to a different drummer for sure.
He's very original.
I mean, I like his dance moves, but yeah.
Yeah.
I like that guy's incredible, isn't he?
Mike Picker has got a question. He says, what do you guys think about the Garmin Live Scope?
Mike's the dad of the kids that I help with the high school fishing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he mentioned
we're looking to buy some new equipment.
Yeah, you said it was Ronan Picker?
Yep.
Okay. So, Mike, what do you think about the Garmin Live Scope?
I think it's outstanding. I think it has its place for sure. But I think I told Mike this. If I was trying to coach, looking through I help them a little bit, but I don't really have a high school team that I coach. But I've coached football and baseball and soccer. And I would think, it's hard to say this, but don't you think, Gabe, that it might take away from your learning how to catch bass if you had that? But then is that just me being an old fogey and looking at things the old way? I don't know. It's definitely got its place. But and I don't know that Garmin Live Scope is, I think they're all going to catch up eventually. I think they're saying the new Lowrance stuff's good. I think it's all going to get crazy good in the next 3 or 4 years or even less. They're all get.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, if I'm learning how to come up and go find fish, didn't you talk about the video where Pangrack chased around a crappie for like 25 minutes and finally caught it?
Yep.
I think you could lead yourself down the sight fishing rabbit hole sometimes with that.
I think I see both sides to it there because you look back. We're not old guys by any means.
No, we're not ancient.
But we had I had an Atari,
Right.
But I see like my kids now playing their games, and I sit down and try to play a racing game or something with them, and they just make me look like a stupid fool.
That's the only games I can win. I can't win any other game but racing games.
Yeah. Well, but I look at them doing this, but you get a couple of young guys out there that are passionate about fishing to begin with, and they start off with some of these live scopes and stuff.
That's true. That's very true.
They're going to get deadly.
Yeah, and then he'll learn faster than me when to use it and when not to use it. Maybe
That's what Menendez was saying last week. We were talking about the same thing, and he says when you first get it, the kind of ooh-ah factor is a little bit overwhelming. You're looking at the fish, you're just constantly focused and obsessed with it. But then after that all wears off, you kind of figure out
in a little bit
when you kind of work it into your game. When can you use it? I remember him saying that when he saw fish suspended up in the like standing timber under the water, when he saw them up high, they were catchable. If he saw them down at the very base of the tree, they were not catchable, or vice versa. But you start to apply that to your fishing game, and then it becomes another tool.
Yeah, or you see 4 or 5 of them at a certain depth range, you can just say, all right, in standing timber, for example, I got a square bill that runs 5.5 feet. I'm going to run this by every tree,
Right.
Yeah. Now,
and then when you see one, maybe target that particular one. But until then, go back to your normal thing of putting your foot on the trolling motor and casting it now that you've kind of established they're all at what depth X, So
I'm just curious. I haven't seen much on this, but I wonder how much the water clarity is going to have a lot to do with that.
I don't know.
You get some good muddy water, with a lot of sediment floating in it, from rain or whatever just happened maybe. I wonder if that's going to play a lot into that.
I'm sure. Well, it does in the down imaging, right? So I don't know why it wouldn't, but yeah.
You can probably decrease. It's probably got a clutter setting and a sensitivity setting. You can, decrease.
Right, you're going to have to adjust it depending on. I'm sure. I'm talking out my butt because I don't have one, but it would make sense, right? You have to adjust the other one, so why wouldn't you have to adjust that one?
Yeah, I'm sure.
The difference between Carlisle, shallow and muddy, and Bull Shoals, clear and deep, right? You're not going to take those settings from one to the other.
Yeah, I think
it's not going to be major tweaks with today's electronics. It's not going to be major.
Right. I mean, I think for me personally, the application that I would like to use it in the most is chasing those suspended fish, the schooling fish that are out there.
This time of year with an A-rig?
Yeah, that come up, or you side scan them and
just find the bait and throw under them.
The bait's moving around a lot, and you just don't know which way it goes. You have to get up on top of them, or you have to fire up your motor, and then you spook them. A lot of these lakes are so pressured that just firing up the motor kind of freaks the fish out. But that, and then seeing how they react to what bait that you're throwing, because you can't really tell. The way we get feedback on a bait is if we get a bite, right?
You mean we fish?
We fish. Okay. If you've got that live scope, you can tell if the fish are just swimming away from your jerk bait
or swimming up to it and stopping. Maybe you need to change colors or change cadence.
Yep, exactly. I mean, but you could definitely get hung up on it and spin your whole
or
trip.
Get pissed and just throw a grenade in the
there you
water.
go.
Oh yeah, now it's getting serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay says you have to adjust it to every lake.
Yeah,
So that makes
me.
sense.
That makes sense. I wouldn't say every lake. I bet if you went from Bull Shoals to Table Rock to, Norfolk, you wouldn't change it much. The same as if you went from Wren to Carlisle to the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Those settings are going to be a lot closer.
Eric says it can be very frustrating seeing them and watching them look at your bait and swim right away. Yeah, Eric, the only time I've really been behind him was Matt from 3 Pound Fishing over at Lake of Egypt. I got to jump in the boat with him, and he's a crappie fisherman. And we were just pulling up and fishing piles. So basically he had a 12-foot rod, and we were that close to the pile. And those crappie is the same thing you're just talking about. You drop it. We were fishing live bait. We just had a minnow with a split shot rig, and you can drop that thing down there, and you can see those crappie come up to it. And it would actually blend, and you're waiting for a little tick, and then they would just back off and swim away. That's what live bait.
Off a live bait?
That's live bait. Yep.
Gary made a pretty good point, and I could definitely see this happening. He said pretty soon you're going to see underwater drones with sonar and remote. I could definitely see that coming.
Now that would be great for mat fishing. I would love to have a little submarine with a camera that would glide up underneath.
Scuba Steve.
What's going on?
Send Scuba Steve down there from what was that?
I'm all about that.
What movie was that?
You go down there and go to Kincaid and swim with the muskie.
Shoot, man.
You'll be the next one on what is that? River Monsters.
Yeah. That's
got eaten by something. Let's figure out what it was.
No, I'm staying in the boat, man. I'm just staying in the boat.
Yeah, there's catfish big, and you wouldn't catch me doing that stuff, man. Scubaing down around in the Mississippi or Ohio River around the dams. Screw that.
You're nuts, man.
It's a man eating catfish down there.
Yeah.
Somebody says they went to Pink Floyd concert on their honeymoon in '88.
Yeah, it was small water, wasn't it?
Yeah, nice. But that was a pretty good show.
Yeah, that's a woman there. Yeah, I seen the original Pink Floyd still had their original lineup in '86 at the old Checker Dome. Yeah, and I looked at my Roger Waters ticket from right when my nephew got back from Afghanistan, me and him went to Roger Waters. So I'm just seeing one member of Pink Floyd, and that ticket was $115. The one from 1986 was like $12.50 to see the original band. So.
Morrison said, "I'm Jeremy Wade." You can have him, man. I would not.
You know what? I'm going to get some form of that live scope, whether it's live scope or my next boat for sure. I'm going to have live scope, or I'm going to wait and see what Hummingbird's deal is.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, that Lowrance stuff looks really, really good. I've been watching some of the videos, and it's amazing. Of course, a lot of the videos I was been watching, you know, you got a 5-foot fish like a sturgeon, so you really got a good palate there.
Yeah.
You can see the tail action.
I seen somebody posted one the other day on I don't know if it was a pike or a muskie or something like that. You could really see it. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty fluid.
Remember,
stuff.
you could read the T on Bill Dance's hat when he fell in the lake and threw him away on the commercial when the game warden came around.
I can't remember what I was watching, but there was a guy that they had a diver go down, scuba diver go down in a lake and stand on the bottom like this, and the dude went by with the side scan. I think it was a side scan, and you could see look like a little black cross there on the bottom. That was a diver down there. It was pretty impressive. I think it was Humminbird 360 side, or not 360.
I think you guys asked me last time, and now I've had more time to deal with it. I like my Humminbird the side imaging on the Humminbird better than the Lowrance. Granted, I haven't had the new Lowrance, so. And the one thing I've liked about the Humminbird so far too is it seems like if they come out with a new side that they're supposedly, I'm hearing they're going to come out with the front looking sonar too, and you're not going to have to go buy a new unit. It'll work with your Solix or your Helix. You won't have to get a special unit. So to me, that's a big deal for guys that like already have a nice 12-inch Solix or something, and they want to get forward looking. They don't have to go buy, same way with their 360, you plug it in, it works with either one.
Right.
Yeah. Like Smallwater said, the gator would eat the drone or the diver, whatever.
Well, that's always the question, do you get 360 or do you get forward-looking sonar? But Humminbird, you can have both of it on the same unit, which is pretty cool. So if you already got Humminbird, that's the way to go.
Well, and the new Lowrance does that too, right?
Right. I don't know for sure.
I thought it all had to do with how you want your transducer, and they were selling a bracket that would flip that transducer for you.
Maybe
right.
Yes, I've just been watching the videos. I haven't read all the details on it.
I forgot who we have on here that was talking to us about that, because that's the video I went and seen. Because he posted a video on there, and it was showing that to where it would one way on your transducer, mounting it on the bottom of your trolling motor, or you could
on the shaft.
Yeah, you can do it on the shaft, and then it changes.
You said shaft.
Yes.
All I know is I'm kind of a fanboy, but Marcus Sikora won another tournament at Lake of the Ozarks, and he just runs the 360. So apparently you can still catch fish without it.
Yeah, I think Polinick does pretty good with it too.
Yeah. So
small.
And like I said, Marcus is so familiar with all that Humminbird stuff been using. He doesn't even go to the Solix. He still uses the Helix because he's just more familiar with it. And that's what I'm going to do. If I ended up staying with Humminbird, I'll probably go with the 360 and wait for their fronts only to come out. I don't know if that will even be necessary.
I'll wait till
I just think it'd be kind of weird to have like 3 Humminbirds and then have to add a Garmin.
Right.
I mean, I know plenty of guys do it. I mean, but didn't Pete have it when you fished with Pete too?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, you've been in the boat with him before, and he was throwing that A-rig up and over the treetops, right? Like being able to make sure he wasn't getting hung up as he was bringing it over.
Yeah, man. He had
that being a huge advantage.
He had that thing dialed in. We're out there at Table Rock, and the boat's in like 40, and we're fishing trees that are topped out in about 20, and he's making a cast with that A-rig and with his live scope, and he's watching that A-rig fall down. And when it gets to the depth, he just starts cranking it in, and it's literally like a foot above those treetops, and those spots were coming up and grabbing it. He saw every fish that he caught, and I was trying to do the same thing, and I was getting hung up because I couldn't see where I was casting at. It's frustrating.
Yeah, let's keep in mind who we're talking about too, though. I mean, I'm saying $1 to a dog turd in 2019. Pete could have done the same thing because he spent so much time on that lake that he probably could have cast. He's probably casted those same trees and not got hung up for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's not the first fish he caught out of those.
No. No. So it wasn't like putting me up there on day one. I'd still be getting hung up and cussing and grabbing a jig because my stupid Alabama rig's hung up in that tree.
Here you go, Mike. Here's a question for you from Mike. He says,
Ronan.
how big, huh?
That's Ronan.
Oh, how big of a difference does the hydro wave make? Now, you've ran a hydro wave for a while.
I've had one since I don't know, a couple years after they come out. I think it's camouflage myself. I mean, I know it works because I've told you. I think I told you guys this story when I was in that web tournament where we could launch from wherever we want, but you couldn't make your first cast. And I had a spot on a main leg dock that I knew they were there because I had reeled one up real slow on a jig with the hook turned down, and it's table rock. So I seen 4 or 5 others that were equally as big as it, and it was a good solid 3-4 pounder. And there was like 7, 8, 9, 10 of them down there with it. So I get there in the morning and I'm sitting there sipping coffee, and I look down and I got like 7 minutes to go, and I take another swig of coffee and I think, oh, maybe I should turn my hydro wave on. Turn the hydro wave on. Shad started flickering, fish started schooling, and I couldn't make a cast. I immediately shut it off, but it already the game was on. And I had to sit there for 6 minutes watching fish bust all around me and couldn't make a cast. I know it activates fish. But I also think when you're just got the trolling motor on and you're moving down along docks, maybe just having that noise kind of camouflages your presence. But I know they're interested in it. I mean, it activates the bait. It's not like they're going to swim up and jump on your bait because it's there, but I don't think it hurts to get them in the right mood. It camos your presence. And also, if Gabe has one, I'm going to get one because I don't want him having an advantage. So,
didn't you say it attracts turtles too?
Oh yeah, I've had turtles swim up, like 3 of them just staring at the speaker, like, "Hey, I heard there's some bait getting ate over here. We're looking for some scraps. What's going on?" That's kind of that's what their eyes said. They didn't really say that, but that's kind of what they said. Was like, "Hey, it sounded like there's bait getting eaten over here."
Yeah. Smallwater said he swears he catches more fish with the radio on in the boat. He said 10 boat vibrates, bass loves Southern Rock.
No, they love it. They love Rammstein. When I was fishing with Kelly Jordan, we were in a little backwater, and he started blaring Rammstein and throwing a square bill and culled every fish in the live well. And he said, "I told you these where were we at? Fort Collins? No. What is it up on the Mississippi River? Gabe, help me out. Fort something or other."
No, that's in Oklahoma. No,
that's Gibson. Anyway, it was up on the Mississippi River in Iowa somewhere. And he told, when he flipped the 5th one in to cull his 5th fish, he was like, "I told you these fish were Nazis. They love the Rammstein." Because he had the Rammstein just blaring.
Man, we've caught good fish out of your boat with the radio going. That's before I started doing the YouTube stuff with being in the boat with Mike. We
had to turn it off because of the YouTube.
Yeah, you get copyright violation if you got any kind of radio going. Yeah. But yeah, we used to catch them. I don't think it bothers them too much.
Yeah, they're all saying
no, man. Especially at Lake of the Ozarks, it's not like there's a radio on every other dock and going by all the time in those big boats. So I don't think it bothers them. I think I told you guys this before. I was fishing brush piles in a tournament. I had one of them big boats come in and drop an anchor right in the middle of the brush pile. And then I kind of did one of these, and he looked at me. He's like, "Oh, were you fishing there?" And I was like, it's a popular spot where the back of a cove and a flat where guys come back and park their boats. And I was like, "I was, dude, but damage is done." I said, "Don't worry. As long as you guys are just going to sit there, I'm going to fish this other brush pile and give it 10 minutes, and I'm going to come back over." And sure enough, I gave it 10 or 15 minutes and came back over and started catching them out of the same brush pile. Once that anchor hit bottom and everything settled down, they all came right back to that brush pile. The funniest thing of that is it was a super hot day, and the old Ranger didn't have that big of a cooler. And I culled a couple fish, and I have a couple that were looking rough, and I was running out of ice, and that guy loaned me a bag of ice. So, pays not to go, "Well, what the shit, dude? What's your problem?" Just be cool with the guy. And then, he gave you a bag of ice and kept my fish alive. So,
yeah,
I think they're used to all that noise. I mean, I've caught bass in Mississippi right off of idling barges. That's a big V12 diesel with the pistons the size of a milk carton, and those fish get used to that. I think that churning a little bit of that water and stuff is probably gets them fired up.
Small water trouters. I saw what you said there. I got a little tip for you, man. It's something I kind of learned. I've done this a couple times and it works pretty good. So if you've got some video footage and you got some kind of music in the background, and Mike, I'm thinking of the Toyota Owners Tournament when they got the big Toyota truck with all the boom,
all the speakers in it. Yeah.
So you're talking to Matt Airy, you're talking to Ike and Ellie, but you got this Back in Black in the background. Well, it's a copyright violation, right? So all you have to do is get some of the non-copyrighted music, the stuff that's on the YouTube auto library, and you sync that in with it, and it creates this like weird song that they can't quite pick up on it. So it's just kind of
cool.
Mumbo jumbles that background music, and you'll be good to go. Trust me, I've done that a couple times and it works.
So we were over Lake of Egypt this past summer, my wife and I caught probably one of the nicest bass all day long on video. And she's got the radio on back there listening to whatever new pop song it was.
Right.
And I couldn't even, I just had to mute it through the whole scene. It was like, man, that sucks.
Yeah. Those pop people will probably come after you. Listen to Ray Wiley Hubbard. He'd probably be like, yeah, I'm just glad people are listening to my music.
They will let it slide. Yeah. They'll give you a strike, but they won't pull your video down. You just can't get it monetized.
Right.
So yeah. But it's you don't want to keep doing that.
So it's not the artist, Gabe. It's the channel. It's not wanting to take the risk. Is that what it is?
Well, I haven't really looked into it, but I've had that happen a couple times. And here's another thing. Sometimes those free, the non-copyrighted music, sometimes that artist, if they didn't sell the complete rights to YouTube, they'll come back and they'll decide to copyright something. I've had a video that was out for 6 or 8 months. It was fine, no problem at all, no strikes against it. And then all of a sudden I get a notice from YouTube that says you've got a copyright violation on that video. And I'm like, really? So that person, that artist went back and decided to copyright his music, and and that song stuck in your video. So you always need to use something that YouTube owns, or whatever your streaming service of non-copyrighted music, whatever that is. Make sure that they own that music and the artist is not going to come back. I'm all about giving props out to the artist for sure.
Here's a tip then. Don't use Bob Dylan, because if you just sold it to $310 million, I guarantee those people aren't going to let you use it.
That's true.
I can tell you, all of my videos, all the intros, that song that I've got in my intro Morrison's son, he's actually the one that made the intro for me. And when he made it, it was fine, but now it's copyrighted.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going all Tungsten Groove if I start videos. They won't sue me, I don't think.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I was putting some of the stuff that I did with them that was never like finalized into an album. That's some pretty good stuff. It's just some of the jams that when Stan and Brett and Justice would come down to Jeremy's house, and we just had.
Yeah, I was listening to some of that the other night, the Monday night jam sessions.
Yeah, man.
We used to record them and send them to me.
There's some good stuff on there. We never. Some of it's decent as it is, but we never went into the studio and actually find.
No, but I have one. I think it was you singing "Comfortably Numb" in one of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
We got on that little kick. I had a couple of.
I think I got 7 or 8 of those on MP3 that Stan had sent me, because he was like, "You're gonna dig this," and he was right. It was you guys covering like Voodoo, like Little Wing, and maybe what's the other Hendrix song that I'm thinking of?
We did like "Hey Joe," "All Along the Watchtower."
"All Along the Watchtower" is one of them. There's another one too, from Electra Ladyland. I can't remember.
Little Wing.
Yeah.
That's a fun song, man. I love that song. It's good stuff. What we got? Steve, do you see that comment on there? He says, "Wife walked in on me watching a Tin Horse Monty video, and based on the music, thought it was porn." Dude, I know.
Hey, when in doubt, man. When in doubt, that stuff sells.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. It's creative, and I'm separating myself from the other guys.
Oh, you are.
You know exactly what's going on.
It's not porn until you hear him say, "I'm here to fix the plumbing."
I like that groovy stuff, man. If it's got a fat bass line, it's really, really tight, there's a chance that I'm going to pull it out and drop it on one of my videos. That just always attracts me. I like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't just laid down some funky bass lines, a la Barney Miller style bass lines to put in front of videos. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Tom said he fished night tournaments with Dark Side of the Moon blaring and catching fish right and left.
Nice. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, Whitewell made it in here.
What's up, Whitewell? His channel's been doing pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm liking the videos you're putting out there, man. DJ's he's a Tungsten Groove fan now.
Hard not to be.
Yeah, he reached out not too long ago. I think he asked you what song was on one of my videos, and it was "The River and Me."
The River and Me, yeah.
Yeah, DJ, I played with those guys off and on, and all those songs on that album are really, really fun to play. They're easy to get into, easy to learn and work with. And
you play with a lot of guys?
I just play with a select few guys. Yeah.
Guys that are willing to be submissive.
That's right. Guys that play well. Guys.
Don't let him kid you, though. Gabe could go play with him tomorrow. I remember, Gabe, one of my funniest Gabe stories is when you were telling me we were out fishing and you were like, I played at my church on Sunday, and then I went to the winery, and the first song we played was I get stoned in the morning.
Yeah, I had a church gig in the morning, so I played the 9:30 service. At 10:30 we got out, and at 1 o'clock I was at a winery, and that was the first song we played. So
that's why
I was good.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's wrong with me is I grew up listening to that stuff. I'd be riding to the duck blind or the bass club meeting with my stepdad at 9, singing along with that, not knowing exactly what I'm saying, but yeah, all those old Charlie Daniels, Waylon Jennings songs.
David, I appreciate that comment, man. He says he'd rather not have music, really enjoy the fishing content and not a full production. That's good to know, man, because I agree. Some of the stuff I put like a little short minute and a half, little just kind of clippy thing with some music in it, just to kind of
a little bumper between segments. You got to have something to edit with.
Yeah, a lot of guys have the music going in the background. You know, some people.
Yeah, you don't want it the whole time. We all want to listen to the wave slap off the side of the boat.
Yeah, I like the noise.
You feel like you're there, right?
Especially in a tin boat, you get that clunk, 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 like that pretty tone.
Speaking of which, we're not taking the tin boat next weekend, are we?
No, we'll be taking the glass boat.
Okay.
The glass boat.
Taking the Ranger out?
I haven't had it out.
Ratio Ranger to aluminum.
Yeah, I haven't had it out in like 6 months. The battery, I keep charging the batteries.
You sure it's gonna be
about
good?
We probably need to go out there and I'll go out there and check it out first. We might fish a tournament.
Dump some seafoam in it before you leave. You'll be good.
Yeah, that's good. I did do that. It's got ethanol free in there, and I put some. I think I put some seafoam in there, some Lucas treatment.
Whatever. Yeah, as long as you do something.
Yeah. Worst comes to worst, take mine away after you.
You know how we're always like precisionally measuring that and putting it in or whatever. I went with him, my buddy Jason that owns Belleville Sports and has been a mechanic, and he was like, he just dumps a bunch in there. He's like, you can't put too much. I mean, it's like shit. You could put 4 gallons of it in there, ain't going to hurt anything. So he's like, go heavy or go home. I was like, well, that's nice when you own the shop, but you can grab a hold of all that you need.
Yeah.
That stuff's, everybody back in the day used to talk about, he didn't give me gas money or, in your old club tournaments. I'm like, dude, when the synthetic oil is $48 a gallon, you should be giving me oil money. The gas is the cheap part.
Yeah, no kidding.
But all the other stuff, the mercury, I add that stuff to every single tank, and try to buy ethanol-free gas on top of it. Even, Gabe will tell you when we go to Table Rock, it sounds redundant, but I'll fill up at Hay Bob's on the way out if they're open because they got that ethanol-free gas. And that old Ranger would get like 2 or 3 miles an hour better on top end with that gas station.
Yeah, we got 2 gas stations here in town where I live, and they're both ethanol free.
Yeah.
So usually on tournament Saturdays, stuff like that, early in the morning or even Friday evenings, you'll see everybody loaded up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put straight gas in my little boat because I'm using it every week.
Yeah, you're gonna burn it out of there. You'll be fine.
It's not sitting for very long. You don't have to worry about that. But my other boat, I definitely put the ethanol free in there because it's been sitting for.
Yeah, and just using the conditioner. If I had a can of Starbright, I'd shape it. There you go, Luke Duncan. Come on the show sometime. That's what we got to do. I should have brought a bottle of Starbright. Maybe we could get Luke to come on.
Yeah, right. You don't need any help, man. He's shaking.
No, man. And speaking of theme, the music, I love that. I mean, his music's pretty damn decent, man. And that theme song he uses is pretty catchy.
Gets in your head, man. Gets in your head.
We were talking about that last week or week before.
Yeah, he's genius for singing along with it too. No, I have not. Yeah, it's catchy for sure.
Whitewell wants to know, is anybody fishing with the warm weather? I went today, man. It was we were talking about at the beginning of the show. I struggled a little bit. I went over to Lake of Egypt, and that's how we got talking about the trolling motor. I need to upgrade my trolling motor because I couldn't stay out there. I had to fish some side stuff.
Was it windy?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was 20-mile-an-hour winds out there, and I had to keep the trolling motor on about 7 just to hold still and fishing deep. I'm fishing out there in about 30 foot of water. And I couldn't do it. I'm sitting here whining and complaining. At least I got to go fishing. But
yeah, some first real problems you got.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys are crying out there for me. But,
yeah, I fought the urge to go to the Lake of the Ozarks all weekend because of the weather was going to be so nice. And my buddy Jimmy, I used to play hockey with, he's posting all these pictures of these giant crappie that he was catching. And I love the bass fish, but if somebody's on the crappie, I like crappie sandwiches too. So
heck yeah, man.
I'm okay with putting a bunch of those in my
I
freezer.
might have to clean all the crappie out of the pond you want.
We should do that. That's what we need to do, Greg. We'll catch the crappie, and then we'll eat them around the fire the next time having a fireside crappie sandwich podcast.
Springtime, we can do it. Like I said, well, Gay's monetized, so we can do the live from down there.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably, now that I think about it, I got enough. I got plenty of Ethernet cable. We could run the whole computer down there.
We could do a winter live stream down by the
No, not winter. I'm saying we wait till spring. That way we can set where it's comfortable at least.
Yeah, somebody was up there asking about how you break down Lake of the Ozarks. Mike, you've been there a whole lot more than I have, but the thing I know about there and about any big lake is moving around. If you're not getting bit in a certain section,
yep,
pick up the trolling motor and run 5 miles and start over.
Yeah, I've said it before. If you got multiple days, you need to, pick out something on a map with a big enough creek you like and just start in it. And if you start getting some feedback and some bites in that area, then you can pretty much duplicate that in 2 or 3 miles each direction of you, most likely. If you're not getting bit at all, and it's a struggle, well, then either put it on the trailer and go 15, 20 miles away, or throw it up on pad and take off. And then I like to go into, like I've told you guys before, I like to go into a cove that I've, and just act like there's a dam at the front of it and try to figure out what's going on in there. Because there's a winning limit of fish in every single significant size at that lake. And that lake has a lot to do with, I'm not an expert at it, I hate to even say, but rock, the transitions between the big rock and the little rock, the pea gravel and the sand, just depends on the time of year. But it's that there's so many docks. It's what's going on underneath those docks. And you can say it's the brush piles, but there's brush piles everywhere down there. I mean, people are constantly planting them. Remember, I took pictures of that guy putting those beautiful state beds right across from Greg's dock. There's a big old house there, Greg, that had never had a dock. They didn't have a boat. House caught fire. Some other people bought it, remodeled it, and now there's a giant dock there. But about 2 days before they put the dock, this little crappie fisherman planted like 4 or 5 really beautiful stake beds in there. And 3 days later, there was a giant dock sitting right on top of where he had planted them all.
So, got to drill a hole in the dock now.
Yeah, so there's brush everywhere down there. So to me, it's always that transition area, and if you find that you're getting around the trunk rock on a 45 degrees and it's, just run around. The difference is if you're Marcus Sikora, there's 150 places within 3 miles that look just like this and you can go to them. I'm slowly getting there more and more where I know, I know another spot very similar to this kind of thing once I do start getting some feedback.
I was down Lake of the Ozarks here back in October. And I tell you what, it was running the last part of the day and I had nothing left. I'd fished just about every spot I had marked and ready to go to. And I went and fished a new area that I found that is very promising. But
yeah,
it's like you were saying, it's a real steep drop. I mean, it's pretty nice. But
yeah, there's lots of those places. I mean, that's the thing. It's so big. It is so big. There's if you just do enough looking around, if you get caught up in the rut of fishing the same areas all the time down there, you're missing a lot.
Yeah.
The next cove over to your favorite coast probably got some really cool breaks or rock transitions or, oh, wow, look at behind this dock, there's all this brush and then there's a seawall there, whatever the case may be. You just can't see it all. I mean, you just have to move around and look.
Yeah.
But the basic thing is, if you got a tournament, you got a couple days to practice. Pick an area that the wind's blowing in, and if you go in there and there's bait, throw a gate in the front of it and just put the trolling motor down and fish the entire thing. If you catch them 2/3 of the way back on pea gravel banks where there's kind of some mixed chunk rock in it or whatever, I bet you could go to a cove or two away from that's got the same situation and probably get some more bites.
Yeah, it's a very
patternable lake. It really is. And on top of that, it's loaded with keepers. So, there's only the weird times in the fall where you go down there and catch lots and lots of shorts. For the most time, you catch keepers at Lake of the Ozarks. The key is to win tournaments down there. You got to catch 5 of them that weigh 20, 22 pounds.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if Marcus is in there.
Right. Well, talking about tournaments, what have you figured out what you're going to do in 2021 as far as what you're going to?
I haven't 100%. I'm really leaning towards fishing the 3 Toyota Series tournaments, and then probably fishing the team tournaments with Greg because I'm kind of committed to that. And then if time allows, I might fish a couple of those solo tournaments. I don't know if Webb's going to have his, but there's that Missouri Pro Solo Series that has like a 7 tournament season. I don't know if I could afford or find the time to fish all 7 of them, but it's just something I like to do is fish by myself. So that's the way I'm leaning right now. Been studying the old brochure pretty heavy about whatever it is now the MLF owns it, and man, when you look at it, it's I'm really tempted to go down there and buy a new Camus boat at Boatworks. But then when I'm thinking about fishing this and you look at there's a $35,000 bonus if you win a Toyota Series in a Phoenix, makes me want to call Trey and say, hey, does Lewis Marine got any room for a pro staff guy? Or, because all the bass boats anymore are pretty damn good. So I don't know. But that's what I'm leaning towards. And who knows, I might end up doing it out of the Nitro. I still got 1 year of the tournament rewards left on it. I like the boat. So who knows? It's more of like a time thing. Like right now, it's damn near the next year, right? This first tournament, I think, is Lake of the Ozarks in early February. I don't know if I got time to get a new boat, honestly. Because I guarantee you when I put that Nitro up for sale, it's probably going to sell. I've only got 72 hours on it, so it'll probably go pretty quick. So I don't want to get caught without a boat. But when you think about that, that's $1,700, and it's roughly – I'm ballparking it's going to cost me $9,000 to $10,000 in expenses and entry fees to fish those 3 Toyota Series. So you guys got to cash a check on one of them, don't you? Or
yeah, yeah, that's a lot of money, man. It's a good experience, but
it's a great experience. Yeah, you got to look at it that way too. But even if I don't get any financial help, I'm still leaning that way. I'm not getting any younger, and I'd really love to see how I stood up against those guys. That's when I went down there and fished that Webb Series. That's the whole reason I did that. That was a step up from fishing. That was $300, and you're fishing against studs, the Davis brothers, Marcus Sikora, Brown Algio, the Gavreau brothers, Pete Winters, Eric Prey. There's a dozen of those guys that make their living fishing. So that's no joke. You're going to have to catch them. That's why to this day, winning the boat was awesome, but winning Angler of the Year in that Solo Pro Series to me was still the biggest achievement because doing it all season long and staying steady was a bigger deal than winning one 3-day tournament.
Yeah,
I won that boat. I qualified like 26th or something. I got in there, but I happened to get on them. I won a tournament the weekend before and then that tournament, so I kind of landed on them and stayed on them. But staying on them at 5 different lakes is a whole different ballgame. To me, that's more rewarding. I find pleasure in finding them and catching them versus winning one tournament. If I could get second in 5 tournaments, financially it's not smart versus winning one, but it's more rewarding.
Yeah, well, you could
if you got second in every tournament you entered for a season, or second and third, but never won one. Well, that's a lot better than winning one and getting 72nd in another one and getting 25th and just out of the money. You know what I'm saying? It's harder to do. It really is. I think Angler of the Year and Bassmasters FLW to me, that should be a bigger payday than the Classic, in my opinion.
Mike, I'm gonna throw that question up there for you real quick from Ronan.
He says, "Do you think I should be a co-angler or a boater if I did a tournament on the Phoenix Series?"
Oh, you want to be a co-angler your first time out on that? I think
Definitely.
I would do if you're going to do the BFLs, which I think is what they're calling the Phoenix now. They're calling it the Phoenix now. I think you want to do one season as a co-angler at a minimum, just to get your feet wet and get a feel for it. And you'll make friends and you'll know people. So then when you show up as a boater, you'll have a little support system there, guys that know you. And I mean, I think that's the best part about the co-angler format is the people you meet, the friends you make. You know, you see them at the ramp. You might not see them next year, but you'll see them 2 years later, and they still remember you.
Yeah.
You know? That was the biggest thing for me. I remember Austin Ware, when he got in my boat, he was like, "You won that boat in the solo." You know, he's like, "I don't mean to be tooting my own horn, but I'm a pretty good fisherman." It's funny now because guys will immediately, when they draw you as a partner, they Google your name. They know everything about you as far as your tournaments before you step foot. Where before it used to be kind of a mystery.
Yeah.
Or else you drew a Pete Winters or a Marcus Sikora or somebody that everybody knew.
They know me by my shirt. Like I wear the same shirt all the time. They're like, "Oh, I know you. I've seen that shirt
the pink
before."
one, yeah.
Yeah, no, pink one's. I burnt that. We had a bonfire.
Well, they know, man. You've been recognized from the channel quite a few times when I'm with you. So I mean,
It's fun, man. It's fun. It's good.
but I would fish it as a co. I mean, when I decided I thought I wanted to become a touring pro, that's what I did. I went and fished. Well, I fished the opens as a co-angler and the elites as a co-angler, and then I marshaled 4 of them with the next year, or 5 of them the next year. So yeah, you learn a lot from back there watching guys. And you know, in my case, I learned, holy shit, this is a lot of work. I don't know that this is what I want to do for a living. But Ronan's young enough. When you're a high school age guy and got the passion he's got, look at Jordan Lee and other guys like that, man. Not saying Ronan's the next Jordan Lee, but he could be. There's no freaking doubt. He's smart. He asks the right questions. And you don't have a mortgage yet. He's got a dad that's willing to support him and help him out to get him started, you know, steering him down the right path. It's no different than if your son wanted to be a plumber, you know. It's a realistic job. I mean, it really is with the high school. I mean, I was the nerd when I was little because I had things like this, which was when I was
what is that?
That's a Team Evinrude patch off the back of my Bass Club jacket back in when I was like 10, 12 years old.
Who signed?
And I went Bill Dance.
Bill Dance. Nice.
Bass Wishes. Yeah.
Never heard of
So when I went to the Bass University way back, my stepfather took me all the way over to Indiana from Hillsboro, and I got that sign on the, you know, it was back when you sewed all the patches on your Bass Club jacket. I immediately got home and made my mom cut it off and frame it and then sew another Team Evinrude patch onto the back of my jacket. But back then it was kind of a nerdy thing. I mean, now there's a lot of kids, you know, you can go to college for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, Trevor McKinney had on.
Right. And so, and the knowledge is just out there and the YouTube, it's no different if you decide you wanted to play the guitar or bass fish right now versus 1982. How many times did you pick up the needle and move it back, Gabe, and listen to it again and pick it up and move it back and listen to it again when you're trying to learn something? You couldn't just go to YouTube and get the tablature and oh, here's a section I'm struggling with. I'm going to put it on a 20-second loop and just keep listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you feed it into your brain.
Yeah, that's what my son does. He's got a little deal that tells him, you know, what keys to hit and everything.
Right.
Or what note to hit. But
yeah,
so,
I mean, player, skip it, just holding that CD player and rewind. I'm not that old to where I had a record player, but I did have the CDs.
Thanks. But you can slow it down now too, right? I mean, that's the other thing. There's stuff out there you can slow it down. Yeah. So you learn so much from being a co-angler. I whether it's at the BFL level or club level, BFL levels, it's a fine line, right? You could draw a guy that is an ass, and you don't learn a whole lot other than I don't want to be an ass like that guy. Or you could draw me or Greg or Marcus.
Jay says he wants to find the old retro tournament jumpsuit. like they used to wear.
Yeah, with the big Elvis belt, white belt, and all that. Yeah,
Big pimpins.
yeah.
No,
But I mean, you know what I'm saying, Gabe. You've had great guys, and I'd say it's 80% good guys, 20% bad guys, and it's usually that 20%. Let's whittle that down to the 10% that are real jerks. The other ones are just jerks in training. But
you go out there to learn. You go if you have there's a mindset.
If you have the right mindset, you'll usually go down the right path.
Right. You go out there to learn. If you get the opportunity, a lot of times you don't get quite as many opportunities as you are expecting. The guy's not taking you out to catch fish. He's the one that's put in the work. He spent the gas money. He's got the insurance on his boat and the wear and tear and all that. And he gets first pick at everything. So as a co-angler, you got to wait for your opportunities. There'll be opportunities that come your way. And a lot of times there is definitely an advantage to being a co-angler because you don't have to mess with the boat, especially on a windy day. You don't have to worry about any of the boat control. You can just get back there and fish. You can tie different colors, different baits, try different things, experiment, and fish for different fish than what he is fishing for. If there's definitely a flipping bite, throw out on the other side. A lot of times in the spring when the fish are up shallow, there's a group of pre-spawners that are out there on that first drop. I've seen this in Kentucky Lake. A lot of times you pull in those little shallow pockets and everybody's looking at the bank. A lot of times you can throw out in the middle of the cove and catch fish out there. They're sitting out there in 8 or 9 foot and the boater's up there fishing in like 3 or 4 foot. There's fish out there that are leaving the beds or on their way to the beds. So probably the biggest tip that I would suggest is watch what your boater's doing and try to fish for the fish that he's not fishing. And, there's fish in all different levels of the water column too. There's fish on the bottom, there's suspended fish, and there's fish that may be up tighter and will actually come up for a topwater. If he's dragging a jig or something, throw a swim bait, throw a chatterbait, throw a spinnerbait, target those fish that are in that mid-level water column. And you respect your boater. Don't cast in front of him. Don't cast towards the front of the boat. You'll kind of work that out. Like the last tournament I fished down at Lake of the Ozarks, the guy I drew was fishing a crankbait. He was just throwing a square bill. We were real tight to the bank. I really didn't have much of a cast. He told me, go ahead and throw up here. After I've thrown at it, I don't want it anymore. You can go ahead. So we kind of had a little groove going. I mean, I was casting towards the front of the boat, not over his shoulder by any means, but I was still making a 45 and he was making his 45. So we were just treading. You're 20
feet behind his 45 or whatever.
Right. And he was cool with that. So you gotta ask him, hey, do you mind if I make this cast right here? And if he's like, no, man, you're messing with my fish, well, then you just adjust. But if he's like, yeah, that's fine, then you just roll with it. So always ask the boater.
Yeah. And the reason that worked out, Gabe, is because you're a cool guy. Be cool with the dude from the get. Everything you can do to make his day more easy and relaxed. Be there on time. If you know how to back a truck, help him out as much as you can. All that kind of stuff. Just building a relationship with him right out of the gate. I mean, some guys are unavoidably jackwagons, but most people aren't. And if you pull your weight early on, I mean, every time he swings on a fish, drop your rod and grab the net. That goes a long ways. And I don't think you can learn how to be a good boater or else you've been a co-angler.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say I would also
expect
if you get that.
I treat mine with respect because I was one and I don't want,
Right.
So if you've never done the co-angling thing, I don't think you'll be prepared to know how to treat your co-angler.
Yeah. And the best thing that can happen if you draw a guy, if you get so-called a bad draw and he's running the bank with a square bill, the best thing that can happen is he catches 20 pounds as quick as possible. And then he'll relax a little bit and he'll give you some.
And he's a happy man.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
you ready to go over them?
Hey, we're gonna do an unboxing, Mike. You up for that?
I'm down.
We got Morrison Sons custom baits. He sent us up a little.
When you get done unboxing there, we'll unbox the little magic Black Friday box tray.
From Trey. You got some, yeah. We're gonna do all kinds of custom baits tonight, guys.
He put out his jerk baits the other day, and when he did that ghost, holy crap.
Yeah.
I will be getting some of those.
Yeah, this was his Black Friday special. You bought 10. Like I needed 10 more jerk baits. You got a free wake bait in the box.
He's painting me up some too. He's a little bit behind, but he's working on some. Hey, John, if you're on here.
He's on.
Okay, cool. We're we're gonna open your baits and kind of show the colors. And we don't have the colors. So if you have a name for the colors that we're showing up,
I want to pick a few of them out first.
Okay, well, put the names of them on here because, and let's see, you got scissors? It'd be a lot easier if we had some scissors.
Oh, sure, I got to do everything.
Yeah, I don't want to slice.
What kind of redneck doesn't have a big knife in his pocket, Greg? That's what I
got
want.
a knife, man, but I don't want to cut. I don't want to slice his
Attaboy. Okay.
The knife.
I take that back. I'm sorry.
I was just trying to make these packages look nice and neat. It's a dull knife, dude.
It probably is. I use it every day, man.
I got a better knife. I got an Army Reserve buck knife.
I got scissors right here.
A buddy of mine's a recruiter. He gave me a couple free knives, which is super handy. Hey, while we're waiting for him, a little quick question. Are you a finesse jig guy or a full-size jig guy in the wintertime?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely a finesse jig guy in the winter.
That's what I thought. Same here, man.
I like the new kind of the half-ounce round head, so it's still got a little bit of weight, but it's a really small skirt profile and hook.
Yeah.
And then I use a lot smaller, either a smaller chunk or a smaller beaver, or I don't necessarily use a smaller beaver, maybe just the smallest beaver, and then trim a little bit of it off.
So you're a fan of the big beaver?
I am a fan of the sweet beaver.
Hey, I feel you, man.
Everything from the texture to the smell to the right down
and
to
the colors.
The names, the colors.
Hey, I'm
a big fan of the tramp stamp.
I'm gonna cut these open and have you you can talk about them or whatever.
All right.
This is exciting. So
Morris and Sons pour some custom baits, and like we were saying earlier, he sent us this care package. I thought he was going to send us just 2 packs of stuff. Well, he loaded his up, so we're going to just.
I had to zoom in so I can see better. There we go.
I'll show you what he sent us.
Now, I can tell you, this is the first one. That's one of his crawls right there.
That's like a punch crawl.
Yeah, it's got a real slender body, perfect for punching, going through grass, stuff like that. That's gonna be.
Hey man, you trim the top part off would be perfect for a finesse jig in the winter with those legs too.
Yes. And actually, if you look at that, he made it just right where you can cut whatever you want off the top there.
Yeah, if you cut that right below those top appendages, it'd be perfect for a small finesse jig, probably.
And that's kind of I wouldn't say that's a June bug color, but it's almost like a hematome. Talking about big beavers.
Yeah, you're gonna make me all greasy.
Yeah, you're getting all greasy.
It was like a swirl of a black and blue, wasn't it? Like a swirled black and blue.
Yeah, and his baits come with plenty of oil with them. Trust me, they're well worth it there. So this is another one of his crawls. You were talking about the trailer for the jig. That's
that's definitely nice. That's close to that yum that I throw that style. Yeah. And it's got those big flappers, the little ridges on the flappers. Yeah. I might have to get a hold of a couple of bags of that. Does he have green pumpkin purple?
Oh,
he can make it.
People want to know.
Yeah.
Oh, he can. Oh, well, you're gonna have to get me this guy's number then.
He's right there. He's the last one to comment. Morrison Son Custom Baits.
I can see a bunch of those last ones you just put up there in green pumpkin purple.
No, we don't need to show these.
You got to show it, man. You got to show it. We don't hide nothing on this show. Greg's got a custom color, and he's scared to show it.
So here, I'll show you this side.
That's a 2-sided bait, man.
No, that's the only side it is.
Yeah. Oh, he's got laminate stuff, huh? Both double side action. Oh.
So I will say the story behind this is kind of telling Gabe that particular color I've been throwing all year long, and I've had phenomenal luck with it. And that's in clear water to dirty water.
That's crawfish on one side, shad on the other. That's what I see.
Right.
That's why I like that peanut butter and smoke. That's got that streak of silver
in the back.
Yeah, it's a mullet of trailers.
I've had a lot of good luck with that color on the back of a swim jig too. So
I could believe that.
This is another one of his 2 color parts here. Another one of his punch crawls, that real bright blue like that.
So
gold flake.
You guys that are fishing
like a green pumpkin with gold? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's pretty sexy, dude. I like that.
That is very nice.
Reminds me of the BB cricket by Gambler.
We'll have to see if he can. I'm tired of spending the time dipping my tip chartreuse. Why doesn't somebody just make them where the tips are already chartreuse so I don't have to monkey with that?
And not the whole claw.
Yeah, just the tips. I just want the tips.
Yeah, just the tip. That's all you need.
That's what she said.
Yep. So here's more of a beaver style bait he's got, and these do have the big flanges on them. This is it's really like one of the havoc baits. I mean,
Yeah, it does look like it.
Good.
I like that.
bait. Yeah, like I said, it does have the bigger flanges on there.
Yeah.
So.
See, if you could just do the flange and maybe 1/8 of an inch up on their chartreuse, well, then you're in high cotton for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spicy beaver.
Then at the end of the day, my tips of my fingers don't have to be chartreuse from all the scrubbing them with a dye pen.
This is another
Back to
one.
the co-angler thing, I always tell them to leave that dye in their truck. I got dye pins. I don't need your dye on my carpet.
Yeah, the pins are the way to go. The marker.
Yeah,
is
they
I
fine.
just keep a bunch of them up there, and I tell the guy when he gets in my boat, help yourself. You don't need to get your dye out.
Yep. So here's another one. This is a little beaver style, but you got the real slender, no big flanges on there. So this is definitely something I'm gonna throw in a little bit colder water.
Right?
Action. But perfect for a jig.
That's
Perfect.
awesome. That's a great looking bait. I wish I could smell them. You got any smell to them?
Oh, good, man. Smell like cotton candy. You like cotton candy?
And then this frog.
Oh,
Gabe and I are really checking these frogs out, and they have got some body to them. I mean, they've got a real good thick body. But
I can see that. Put
Well-
that dude on the back of a black buzzbait.
Yeah. Now look, they do open up on the inside,
Nice.
so you could run that thing weedless, no problem at all.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, that thing's got some weight to it, man. I bet
Yeah,
you
it
can cast
does.
that thing a mile.
And that's, it's funny you say it because you look at a lot of plastic frogs like that, and they're tend to be on the lighter side.
Well, it's because
coach toads a lot.
they're probably saving money not putting the material into them. They're giving the heft.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
like-
want that frog. You want that frog to have an impression. Put a little pressure on that mat if you're swimming on mats.
Now, Harry, you were just talking about this
There you go.
Cinco or
That's nice.
trick worm, whatever, or not trick worm, but a
stick bait.
stick bait. So
Man, that is a beautiful color. Describe what the flake that's in there. Is that gold again?
it's got like a blue and gold flake. So
Man, those are sharp, dude. This guy's going to have somebody trying to buy him out in a hurry. Those are good looking baits.
This I like this one a lot. This is a really good color around here.
oh yeah. Getting hard to open the packages here. Okay.
This is awesome around Christmas time to be unboxing. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
boy.
I don't know if you can see that color a little bit.
I can see that hue of blue running through it for sure.
Yeah, it's a good looking color. That's a good mix.
Yeah.
Good. We call that color beautiful. Me and Jerry call that beautiful. We fish a Cinco in that similar color.
Are you sure he's not talking to a sandwich? The hell is beautiful.
I heard Jerry talks dirty to his sandwiches.
He does, man. He talks. I gotta shut him up. He's
Oh,
saying
the sandwich is so beautiful.
he's back
Now,
there
this is-
finessing it.
this
He's got a
is a-
special bag for it.
One I really did not want to show. And I'll show you why in just a second. So we've seen plenty of white baits out there. But look how translucent this thing is.
Oh, wow. That's a true albino.
That's a clear water killer.
Yeah, that is. I am
That
looking-
reminds me of the I forget what brand it was, but remember Brent Ayler at Table Rock would throw them in a bunch of a thing of water and let them set in there for weeks until that kind of dye got out of them and they were more translucent. The grubs that he was fishing at Table Rock.
Yep.
That's what that reminds me of. You ever find it? You ever snag an old crappie jig and then it becomes translucent? It's been down there for a long time. That's exactly what that reminds me of. So that's kind of a brush hog style.
Brush hog. Yep.
That'd make a good jig trailer in the too. That's when you're throwing big nasty jigs in the summertime with that.
Man, that brush hog is the deal on the back of a jig. I throw that baby brush hog a lot on a finesse jig, just kind of cut about an inch of it off. It works good. Guy at Kentucky Lake showed that to me several years ago.
Yeah. Mike McClellan showed that to me, the whole throwing a brush hog.
So this is definitely a trailer I'll be using for my jigs.
Nice.
A nice little
Twin tail grub. Great on a swim jig.
Yep.
And Texas rig
Hey,
right now.
spread that open. Did it have a middle appendage as well?
So I don't know if you can see that.
It's a male.
It's got a wiener. It's got a wiener on it.
Got a wiener, yeah.
Nice.
Hold it out there.
I would definitely dye that wiener bright red.
You would.
Red rock.
Put a little orange on the tip.
Orange on the
Like
tip.
a rooster.
I think he's been down at the farm too long.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a chicken joke for it, or a chicken story. We'll just take a little pause. We got a few more of these left.
It doesn't involve the size of the egg, does it?
No, well,
All right.
like pre-egg. We'll go with pre-egg. So this guy on my route.
Which came first?
Huh?
Which came first?
Man, I don't know, dude. The chicken or the egg? It almost has to be the chicken to lay the egg. I don't know, man.
Who came the most, Craig? You know.
Like tic-tac-toe. You can never win. So this guy on my route, I deliver. I'm a letter carrier for the Postal Service. This guy on my route lives right in the city. We live in a city. It's about I don't know. It's like 3,500 people or 35,000 people.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, 35,000 people. And this dude buys 7 chickens. So he's wanting to get some farm fresh eggs, right? He's got the little coop set up in the back, and they're supposed to be hens because hens lay eggs, right? Well, somehow they snuck a rooster in there. Okay. So this thing starts cockadoodle doing. He's got the neighbors mad. They're coming over on their little neighborly walks, telling him, hey, you need to tone that down. I don't know if the police have been called, but anyway, they're about to kick him out of the neighborhood. So he lost one of his chickens to a hawk too, actually, the other day. I just found out. Sucker just swooped down and one of them city hawks. But so he buys this. This is crazy. He buys this choker. This is a true story. You can buy a rooster choker. It's like a choke collar. It goes around their neck.
What?
Yeah, real deal. So every time this rooster tries to cockadoodle do, it's like, you got him all choked up. He's bound. So, buddy, man, you're out there choking your chicken right in front of all your neighbors.
I was going to say, now we know where that came from.
What kind of man are you, man? But yeah, he's got it all figured out now.
Hey, we have a hawk that comes around here, Gabe, that's got a squirrel or two out of my backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, they're deadly, man. They're stealthy.
Dude, there's nothing like when you see them actually just fold them wings and drop like a rocket.
Yeah.
And it's like just like a tomahawk missile, man, comes flying down and smokes it.
So here's another one. Same bait as a while ago. A real slender look, but does have the different form there.
You know, man, what I like about that too is it's got the appendages, but a pair of scissors, if you don't want them and you're punching or they want something a little more subtle, just trim them. It's best to have them, and if you don't want them, you can trim them off. You know,
Yeah.
Can't add them,
No.
but if they're on there,
We'll show you a few more here.
So here's a little worm here. Nice. Done. Little ribbon
what is
tape.
that? That looks, is that smaller than a 7-inch? Or is that about a 7-inch?
I think that's about
It's about a 7-inch.
7, yeah.
6.35.
Yeah.
Looks good though. He's got some crappie stuff too. He's got a few little curly tails, which right now this is a good time to be throwing these little suckers around. Just your standard little curly tail. Little
Oh wow, yeah.
twister. Yeah. Got a lot of action these things. Just kind of an off-white color, kind of an eggnog color. And then he's also got
Is that like a swim bait or a fluke? I just kind of seen you.
yeah, we're getting to that. We're getting to
All
that.
right, all right.
Crappie bait real quick.
Looking for something for the back of my chatterbait.
These are kind of like the little Bobby Garland type crappie.
Oh wow, a little squid billy.
Yeah, man. They just got a little bit of action. You can sit there and shake them, put them on a light jig head. So crappie guys, you know what I'm talking about. All right, man. Let's break out some of these. These are some of my favorites.
Smallmouth beaver jokes, now chicken choker.
Whoever thought that the crappie guys would be spending as much as us bass guys on rods and electronics and all that stuff?
Yeah, I know. Good advertising, good marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Nice little paddle tail there.
Thump, thump, thump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice looking bait.
She got a slender
And-
body.
The bottoms. Fully
Oh
open.
yeah,
That's not
So
what
you-
like.
yeah, that's nice. So you got the option to go either way with those. You ever see a lot of guys flip that paddle tail upside down on their chatterbait?
Mm-hmm.
These are really.
Trust
Really
me, I got
juicy,
all
man.
over my hands.
You have to go wash your hands in a minute. We got a couple more to show you.
Yep. Little flukes.
Oh, that's like the original fluke style. Yeah, that'd be really nice on the back of a chatterbait. Sometimes you don't want that paddle tail on a chatterbait.
That one had extra oil.
Yeah,
in
that
it.
one's got some extra funk to that one.
Yeah.
Woo, dang.
It's ready for the massage parlor.
John, what is that? Or
That's the secret sauce, John.
no kidding.
Okay.
Holy cow. You can
Some of that quantum hot sauce.
not skin.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's like a good chef, man. You got to put some extra sauce on there.
Oh,
Show
yes.
them that. We get into
Oh,
some of
yes.
the good stuff here.
Oh my,
That's
Let me-
sexy.
Yeah,
That's very.
Yeah.
You did a great job on that.
that is
Yeah.
beautiful.
really nice. Gold strip, nice slender design.
It's like about a 5-inch paddle tail, I
Yeah.
believe.
And the one thing that Gabe and I were talking about is you look at how slender that tail is all the way back.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not gonna catch a lot of water. It's gonna have, and I mean, this thing is, guys with the big swim baits always talk about how limber they are. I mean,
yeah, that is flaccid.
yeah, I could definitely fish that in the winter, no problem.
All right, I get to show this one. And there's another color in that same bait.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good work right there.
You put some porn music in front of that guy.
Yes. Waka waka.
Like I said, all of them are set up to where they can be completely weedless too. They got that big cavity in there.
Put that away, man. It's...
Man, it's making me horny. Stop that, Greg.
All right, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
On Monday.
So a bunch of great baits, guys. He's on Facebook, right? You can
Yes.
check him out on Facebook if you're interested. Get a hold of him, send him a private message, and he can. I don't know what all he does as far as pouring custom colors, but I'm sure
We're gonna find out because I could see 2 or 3 things right there that I could
And just with
really like to express my how I'd like to some colors made.
let me get back up here.
the
that
time
swim-
he removed
There you go.
53 squirrels from his backyard. There's the link right there. There's his phone number. Where is that at? Oh yeah, Tom says I've removed 53 squirrels from my backyard since July.
Jesus.
Dang.
You look over my shoulder. There's a cache of air rifles behind me for the squirrels that are in my backyard.
Somebody needs a pet hawk.
Yeah,
I'm
no
thinking.
kidding.
Yeah. I'm shooting uphill. I got the disadvantage. Me and my neighbor were in a competition, but he's shooting downhill. I worry about breaking windows. Plus, I have that Benjamin. It sounds like a 22 going off.
Yeah, you
So-
want to get the popo
I'm in a
hawk.
competition here. But
Yeah, Morrison said too, with the swim baits, he can make them a full body. No, they don't have to have the slot on them.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
That's I'm real interested in those. That
Yeah,
was my next
definitely.
question. So some you can throw on a jig head.
And
Yeah,
tackle
just say or the back of a chatterbait or a swim bait. Or the
tackle,
spinner.
we kind of did change time because we used to be at 7, but we've been at 7:30 for.
Yeah, we're going a
Oh.
little. Yeah, we're going a little long too. We got into some baits and this color right here, man. Did you showed this, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's that. Looks like that. I call it the Jaime, but that's like that dirty Sanchez color from
Yep.
the Sweet Beaver.
Oh my, yeah.
That's a killer. If you guys haven't thrown this color in the Beaver, you
Yep.
need to be throwing it. It's a killer.
Get all these back in there.
So what you got on your side over there, Mikey?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to show that where I was telling you about this. This is an old Daiwa. Can you guys see that?
Sure is.
Yeah.
Man. It looks like something from Star Wars.
It's an old Daiwa high. This is the first bait caster I got like at 12 years old. I think it's a Daiwa P. I don't even know what a PL 100 Pro Light. It was like one of the first low profile bait casters back in.
Nice.
Well, I'm guessing I got this in like 1982 and I've held on to it forever. I'm actually thinking I cut a piece of plastic milk jug to make a washer in here 100 years ago. I'm thinking about sending it over to Trey and seeing if he could fix that issue, do something with my milk jug washer and put some bearings in it. And I might take it out and give it a cast just to see, but nothing else. It's an old Daiwa. I'm going to keep it forever.
It's got a short handle on it, doesn't it?
Oh, real short handle.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what the gear ratio is. It does tell you that how much 10-pound or 12-pound line it will hold. It will hold 125 yards of 10 and 98 95 yards or 12. That was seemed like that was more important than the gear ratio back in the day, apparently, to tell you how much line it would hold.
I'm guessing it's in the five.
Yeah, it's probably in the 4 to 5 range. With that short, you could improve that with that handle length for sure. But
Yeah,
it's amazing to me, man. Daiwa's been making quality stuff. I'm a Lew's guy, but you can't go wrong with Daiwa. They've been making quality stuff for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just holding on to that so like one of my kids someday can
is
put
that
in the
line on there too?
damn near. It's
Mono.
probably from the mid 80s. Yeah, it's probably from the mid 80s when I retired it. But
Wow.
yeah, it's
Watch this crap.
Okay.
somebody will sell this. My kid will sell this on their. How much is this thing worth in Bathmaster 10, 20 years from now?
I think I had a Black Max. I think that's the first bait catcher that I used.
Man, I have the. Do you remember the old Shimano with the fighting drag? Roland Martin was pimping that. So what it was it was a switch, almost like a safety on a gun, and it was completely locked down for setting the hook. And you flipped it up, and it went to the drag mode, and then then the drag would be engaged.
Okay.
So you could have it completely locked down with that switch down. Now, with today's technology, why that's went away, I don't know. It seems like a really good idea.
Well, they had the flipping pitch switch or the flipping switch on some of those reels.
Where you would just when you let go of the
locked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate
But this was like if you were just fishing in it, once you'd already engaged the reel, you could have that drag completely locked down. And when you set the hook, and once you got the fish hooked, you could flip it up and turn the drag on, basically.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm losing my rod when I bow up on a muskie or something with that.
Yeah, possibly. I also had I still have it, the old Abu Garcia 2-speed. It was 1-speed reel until there was tension on it, and then it downshifted and went to a lower gear ratio.
Yeah.
But apparently that nobody cared because it went away. It's kind of like wire fences still around because they work, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? People haven't stopped building fences because they don't work. But I got this box from Trey at his Black Friday special, and there's a couple really cool colors in here. This is what he calls the Table Rock Killer, I think, right here. If you can see that. Try to hold it.
Dude, he's supposed to be bringing me some of those up. Is that a duo blank?
That's a duo. Yeah, they're duo blanks. I got 4 of those, and two in the shallow and a couple in the deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it's got that chartreuse back end. If you can see that underneath there.
That dives, Mike, 10 maybe 10 foot
On 10-pound test. Yeah, you're probably going to get it around 10 foot. And what I like about Trey for the old men like me, he puts the oval. You probably can't see it, but the oval split rings on there, so you don't have to worry about it when you're tying. This is probably the color I throw the most, honestly, at Lake of the Ozarks. It's that white with the chartreuse belly.
What's he calling
white. What's he calling it?
Table Rock?
Pearl with the chartreuse belly. The other one's called the Table Rock Killer. This is called Pearl with a chartreuse belly.
It's funny you show that because Mark Menendez was talking last week about his crank or his jerkbaits like that. And he said he really likes to have that different color flash, like a chartreuse or just a plain white belly on the bottom.
Yeah. And of course, this is a classic. You can't go wrong with a clown colored bait. It's.
Yeah.
I've got 2 of the biggest bass at Lake of the Ozarks on a clown colored.
Yeah, I like white belly a lot.
Yeah.
I need to throw that chartreuse belly around a lot more. I don't do enough.
This is his perch gill that he paints. I really like this one too.
Yeah, that's sexy, man. That's sexy.
I would think around the docks at Lake of the Ozarks, that thing would just get murdered.
Yeah, that's a great color. So those were the colors I requested, and then I said surprise me with the additional bait because I ordered what is it 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If you ordered 11, you got a free box and a free wake bait. So I didn't know that when I told him to give me 10, and he said this was his color. And I think he called it Pearl Shad. It's got a little chartreuse in the front, a little bit in the back end there.
And that's a bit bait too, right? It's like a 78 or something.
No, I think it's a 100.
Is it a 100?
I think so.
Just look better. That's a nice color, man. Really nice.
So then,
what color belly
what's that?
on that?
The belly, you said?
Yeah, the belly.
It's just kind of a almost translucent, kind of a.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of a pearl colored, I guess you would say.
It's got that tail and then it's got the throat, you know, the two different colors there. That
And it's got a black, kind of a black back.
yeah, I like that a lot. It looks good.
Kind of a black with a, it's almost like a blue. It's not really black. If you see it at the right angle, you can tell that it's blue. I can't really get it to the right angle, but
Hit the light. Yeah.
and then the wake bait that came with it's kind of a new clear kind of perch color thing that he's got going on there.
Crazy. It looks like it just got out of bed.
Yeah, these things are the right time of year, the fall, early spring. These things are deadly. It's got some good noise to it too.
I'll say probably looks like a rooster after that choke collar for a week.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I don't know what he would have to tell you, but I think that I don't know what hooks they are, but man, they're sticky on all these, especially this wake bait. But on all of them, I don't know for sure what brand it is.
Look like round bends. It might be
still long enough.
I can't really tell.
Well, they're definitely round bends, but I think I'm not sure if they're Gamakatsu or
looks like a gammy.
They're sticky though. Yeah, but we always joke about that, right? How much tackle do you need? And I found a loose bag down there with like 10 or 15 jerkbaits, not even out of the box. And when Trey had this going, I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? With that at that price, why wouldn't I get 11 more so I could get a free box, which I got 10 or 15 completely empty boxes.
You had some mega bass in there too, didn't you? In that little.
Oh yeah, I've got tons of mega bass in that. Still haven't taken out of the box yet that I ordered from Japan when that particular color was working.
Yeah, he's supposed to be painting me some of those too.
I don't even know what the name of it is. It's some Japanese name, but
yeah.
Yeah, Trey painted some of that color for me too.
It's kind of a ditchweed color.
Yeah. Oh, we got to tell the dead man story. So,
yeah. Let's get.
So this was Dave would have to remind me how many years ago it was. I'm saying, good Lord, what year did we get married?
2004.
Was the dead man hole? That was when we were dating?
She the one's holding your cue cards?
No. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm saying it was 12 years ago.
She said they married 74.
Dude, you're like 97.
I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Anyway,
she's over there working. She doesn't know what's going on.
So let's get dead man.
So there's a spot on the Missouri side of the Clark Bridge going into Alton. It's an old borrow pit. Best I can tell, I don't know how it's connected to the Mississippi. I don't think it is. If it is, it's by a culvert pipe, but me and Dave have never found it. We're over there, and a buddy of mine that's from Alton had joined us, and we were in a tiny-ass little V-bottom boat. There is no ramp. We just dropped the boat in, lock the truck in four-wheel drive, and drop it down over the bank and put it in. And we were fishing. Of course, at that time, it was July 4th because my buddy Brad was home from San Diego. So the water was down considerably. And we go over this something, and I'm like, the water kind of had cleared up by that point, too, in the spring. And I'm like, what is that, Dave? And he's like, that looks like an antenna. And I'm like, yeah, but it's got to be attached to something. I think that's a car. And he's like, well, that's not a, I was like, he goes, wonder how long that's been in here. And I was like, well, cars with that kind of antenna, that can't be, it's not like it's old. You know, it's like a more of a modern looking antenna. Long story short, Dave gets down and I kind of hold on to him and he goes under the water and he starts trying to clear it off and he comes up and he's bleeding. He cut his hand on the windshield when he was trying to clear the moss off the windshield. So you can tell somebody's head had hit something had hit the windshield. So I'm like, So then we're curious, right? Dave being Dave, he sticks a freaking paddle. You know, I'm trying to hold the boat still. Dave sticks a paddle in the door and he's trying to pry it open because you can tell where it went, where it's at. There's no way the doors could have opened because it's in some flooded timber.
Now, wait, hold on a second. Did Dave keep his clothes on for this? Because he's notorious.
Oh yeah. He had his clothes. Well, he might have stripped his shirt off because he was going in head first.
Okay.
He had his shoes and his shorts on, and he's got a paddle in there and his face is right down by the water, right? And then Dave's leaning into it, trying to pry that door open. And all he does is get it to break seal. And when it breaks seal, like a bubble comes gurgling up, and Dave immediately pukes into the water, like the smell hit him. And he looks at me and I look at him and I'm like, oh, dude, there's a dead body in there, no doubt. You know, if that smell came out of there. And we're like, so we finished fishing. We just go ahead and go on and go keep fishing. You know, it's like, well, it's been in there long enough that it's covered with moss. Dave calls the St. Charles County Sheriff, because it's technically in St. Charles County there. And they kind of blow it off. I think they told him it had to be like an insurance job or something. And I'm like, insurance job? Even if it is an insurance job, isn't that don't you want to investigate? You know, like, it's somebody's car, you know, it's in there backwards. Who does the insurance job in reverse? Nobody that I know that's like, hey man, I know how we'll get them to really buy this. We'll put it in reverse. You know, nobody thinks that. So long story short, time goes by and nobody's, you know, Dave's called like twice and they've not done anything. So me and Dave got a hold of each other. I was like, dude, I got a couple friends that are cops. My brother's an underwater rescue guy. I can borrow a good mask from him or something. We'll go down there and try to take the license plate off, get it up, and we'll just take it to the cops, let them run it and see what the deal is, you know. He was like, yeah, let's do that. You know, and we made arrangements. It'd be like a week or two before we could get together. Dave's coming back to Alton, driving home from his job, and he sees a car hanging on a tow hook. And the media's there and there's cops there. There's like Channel 4 News or something's there. Dave does a U-ey because it's a divided lane road there, comes around, comes up and tells them the whole story about how, you know, we found this car. It turns out, before I get to that, it was MoDOT guys were working on the road and they'd stopped next to the water and decided to go sit on the edge of the guardrail. And again, this is like a summer later or maybe 2 summers later. The water's even lower. So they can physically see the car, like the top of it sticking out. So the MoDOT guys call the state police, and the state police come and do something about it, pull it out. So Dave's standing there talking to him and says, hey, I called. There's records of me calling like last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. He called multiple times. Turns out it was a guy that had been missing for whatever it was, a year or 2 years. He went over to the Alton Bell and then never came back. His family didn't know whether he struck it rich and took off, he got abducted, or what happened. Well, it turns out it had snowed that night, and he was coming back into Missouri and came off that bridge, and there's kind of like a little hump there. And when he did, hit an icy spot and lost control of his car and slid off and flew off backwards into that lake that we always fished. And that car had been in there. They didn't know what happened to their dad, their uncle, whatever, you know, whoever, their family member. They had no idea. Couldn't collect insurance, couldn't do anything because nobody knew if he was dead, alive, just ran off to, you know, won a bunch of money at the casino and took off for Canada. Who knew? So that kind of concluded that case. And I'm 99% sure that the deputy sheriff ended up getting fired over the whole deal because he went out and checked twice and didn't do shit about it. So the guy that, when Dave stopped and told him, he's like, well, this jackass just blew us off every time. I think Dave was there with him when he showed up and like, well, yeah, it looks like a car, but yeah, what are you going to do? You know, it's like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? Aren't you a cop? Don't you want to know why that car's in there backwards? You know, it's like, so yeah, that's why we call it the dead man hole, because me and Dave as just two fishermen were smart enough to know. Me and him both thought, well, we should have been private or detectives because we're a hell of a lot smarter than that jackass. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out you don't do an insurance job backwards. There's a big smash on the windshield. We could tell somebody's head had hit. It stunk to high heaven when we broke it open. There's definitely a corpse in there. But that cop wanted nothing. And I'm glad they found it before we got dumb enough to go down with a mask and a screwdriver and try to take the license plates off.
That's crazy, man. I don't even get that. You know, when something like that happens around here on the Mississippi River, they'll get down there. They'll have divers that get down there and they'll put the lift underneath. And so
but nobody knew. They just reported the guy missing. They didn't know what happened to him.
Yeah, but you reported.
Yeah, we did it. But, you know, that cop was just being like, oh, that's paperwork. You know, I think, you know, I'm not going to mess with that. That's just weird to me too. It's like, what the hell else you doing? You know? Oh, I get it. You're handing out speeding tickets and not having your seatbelt on, you know, whatever.
Dave said it was an 18-year veteran that got canned. Yeah, you can't do that, man.
That's getting lazy, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean,
so I told him it wasn't groceries.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
T-bone steak spoiled.
It bothered me and Dave more than it did the goddamn guy that swore an oath to the St. Charles County kind of thing. You know, it's like, that's somebody. There's somebody in that car. We had no doubt there was somebody in it. Now, if that car was like a 1942 Studebaker or something, been like, I could see that. But you could tell it was a late model car. You know, you could tell it was in the 90s.
I gotta ask something real quick. Before they drug that car off, did you throw a 3/4 ounce football jig and drag it across the hood?
You know he did.
No, that was when me and Dave were into flipping tubes. I bet we flipped tubes at it.
Flip the tube? Yeah.
Flip the tube. And by the way, I used to drop my full-size Ranger in there, and that kind of screwed up the whole dead man hole, because when a guy's willing to drop a full-size fiberglass boat with power poles and 4 graphs on it in there to fish, people probably get the idea when they drive by it. I bet there's fish in there.
Yeah, Smallwater Charters was thinking the water was probably chummed. He's wondering if the fish bit better near the car. I'm sure there was catfish in the area.
Yeah. The windows, I don't think anybody could get in and get to him. They were just cracked enough that the funk was coming out of them.
That's probably where the crack came from. Those big, like 75-pound flathead trying to smash the window.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, but that was a crazy story, man. When we looked at that and we just started kind of doing the math in our head, like, wait a minute, a car backwards, something's going on here, you know.
That's crazy.
And we fished there a million times, but me and Dave never fished. If we fished there in the summertime, it was usually at night because it was super hot and you would have never seen it. But my buddy happened to be home for the 4th of July, wanted to go fishing, so I called Dave. I was like, you want to go fishing or you want to catch fish? Because I can take you out in the Mississippi. We might not catch anything, but I know if we go get Dave's. This is before I knew I could lock the Suburban in 4 low and just drop that Ranger in there. You had to have the right partner. You know, and Dave was that right partner. Dave would get out in the water waist deep, say, come on back, you're fine. You know, he got in there and made sure there was no big drop-offs or anything.
Dave said you're holding out, man. He said you guys jacked the 7-pounder off the front bumper.
I know that we caught some giant fish there over the years, and we also seen some zoo quality snakes in that son of a gun.
Oh, I bet.
And we heard multiple. I don't know whether I don't think they were shootings. If you don't know much about Alton, there's a lot of bikers related with Alton, and there's a lot of, like, when we'd be night fishing in there, be a lot of late night, because there's a duck boat ramp on the other side of the levee. Be a lot of bikes pulling there, and you could hear them chatter, and the next thing you know, you could hear gunfire. They were down there like setting up cans and shooting at cans and shit against that levee, using it as their backdrop.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of crazy shit that went. But they built a new, you know, this was after the new Alton Bridge. Man, you get a clear night and that Alton Bridge lit up, you could see pretty damn good the fish in there at night. It was kind of cool. You know, me and Dave did a lot of from 7 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock the next morning in that place in the summertime. And dude, it was like I said, it was a borrow pit. So the bottom it just rolled like this. It would be 3 feet, then 8 feet, then 5 feet, then 4 feet, then 7 feet, then flatten off for a while and then go back to doing that rolling. And right where the flooded timber ended, there was a definite tree line there, and it just broke down into the deep part of it where it was 35, 40 feet. You'd see big spoonbills in there. So after like the flood of 93, the water got up into there, and then once the water went back down, everything was pretty much stuck in there. So a lot of the bass got in there when the water went back down. They were just there. And it wasn't connected to the river enough. If it was, that the water would clear up, and it would be like fishing a lake, not the river. There's no current. The water would clean up, you know. And there was just big old hardwoods and stuff in there, lay downs everywhere. It was a blast to fish, and it's pretty much got pounded probably for the last few years. But a lot of people fish it from the bank, and you'd have to be I'm way too scared of snakes to fish from the bank at that place, because I've seen some giant snakes in there, and it ain't like anybody's cutting the grass around the edge of that thing, and it's all just like rock and grass, and I'd screw that shit. I wouldn't be able to get it out of my head. So yeah, I never fished in the bank.
I've been in some places like that, man. As a kid, I don't know that I'd go back in there anymore. Hey, we're gonna wrap this up, Mike.
Roger that, man.
If you guys haven't hit the thumbs up, please do that. Support the channel. Next week's guest is going to be Jay Beffa. He was.
Oh my God, you got Jay on?
Yeah, we're going to have Jay on here.
Awesome.
So Jay was the Missouri. Let me see. I got to get this right here. I keep screwing this up. Let me take a deep breath. Okay, he won the Bass Nation Central Championship on Toledo Bend, and that qualified him to fish the Bass Nation TNT Fireworks Championship on Pickwick Lake. So we're gonna get him on here next week. He's fished Lake of the Ozarks a lot, so we're gonna have some
He's
good.
a great fisherman, man. He's a good dude too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the whole Bass Nation deal, and we'll talk about
the Bass Nation magazine. This issue.
That's right. He's on Bass. What was it?
Bass Nation, the Bassmaster for the Nation members.
Yeah, he's got a little article in there.
A tree, right? I want an article written about me in Bass Nation.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, man. I saw that. I'm like, heck yeah, dude. So
yeah, he's
he's gonna be on here next week. Should be a good time. And in the week after that, we're gonna have Bass Geek, who's a YouTuber from down south, Georgia, Alabama area. So he's fun. I've talked to him a couple times. He's gonna be a good guest. So make sure
work on Mr. Sakura to get on here too. Gotta get Marcus on here sometime. I have to work on him.
Yeah, definitely. I'll reach out to him sometime.
Yeah,
I like to get Matt Robertson on here too sometime. That dude's a squirrel, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen or not, but we'll keep reaching out and just continue to get different.
I bet you wouldn't be hard to get Eric Bray to come on here and talk to you too.
Yeah, or Pete, maybe Pete
or Eric. I mean, they got a guide business to promote. They'll come on and do, for that alone.
They got a lot of good stuff.
They got both of those guys for Table Rock. They're a wealth of information.
Yeah. We'll work on that, man. We'll work on that. So
that's a good mix you guys are getting, Lake of the Ozarks guys and Southern Illinois. That way you can kind of diversify your listeners and followers,
Yeah, I feel like I'm leaving Missouri out all the time.
Big market to be tapped in the Ozarks, dude.
Yeah.
Of sticks.
Illinois a lot too, and I need to
there's
Missouri roots.
Yeah.
So our roots don't have any water around.
Yeah. So, all right, Mike, we're gonna let you go, bro, man.
Thanks, guys. I had a great time as always. Merry Christmas to everybody. If I don't see you, and we'll do this around a fire sooner than later, Greg.
Yep, absolutely.
Sounds good.
I'll bring the bourbon. We'll go with Matthew McConaughey's new Longhorn, whatever it is. He's got a Wild Turkey brand out there, so I'll bring that down around the fire.
Definitely, that'll work.
It'll work. All right, boys. Thanks a lot for having me, and be safe over the holidays, everybody.
All right, Merry Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas, man. See you.
All right, guys. Well, that was a good 2-hour show. So
yeah, it was nice. It went by quick, man.
Yeah.
I got to see some really sweet jerkbaits by Trey, and then we got to see some really sweet plastics by Morris and Sons.
Yep.
Customs.
Got his name up there, name and number. You guys want to get a hold of him? He's got a lot of cool stuff going on. I know he's been pouring just about every day, so I'm sure he's got a lot more to show yet.
Yeah. So thanks for Mike coming on here. It was great, man. I love talking to Mike. I don't get to talk to him enough, so it's good that we get to catch up. We got a lot of. I mean, we'll continue to have him on throughout the following year because he's got stories. We got stories, and it's fun to just get on here. Sometimes just a little bit of break from just straight up fishing stuff. I like stories, man. I like hearing about where people came from, just like that dead man story. That's wild. Could you imagine? I wouldn't want to be there.
I'm
always scared I'm going to hook a body or something and drag it in. When I was catfishing the Mississippi River all the time.
You better hope it's on one of your finesse rigs. You just break it off.
No kidding, man. Every once in a while you like set into like a towel or something that was really heavy.
Yep.
And you're like, this has got some weight to it. I don't know what it is, but you're kind of scared to actually pull it up out of the water.
The worst are the stupid catfish, the old window weights hanging on strings. You go to set into those, and the thing starts tumbling down the whatever it's on or whatever. If you think it's really something,
it's like somebody's leg or a hand or something. I don't even want to. I just want to cut my line and walk away. So
but as a fisherman, you're always curious.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here, man. Appreciate you guys coming on here and spending some time with us. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Absolutely. Everybody, hope everybody has a good, safe holidays. So,
and we will see you next
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
Same time, same place.
All right. See you guys.